Chapter 358. At this moment, the miracles and impossibilities of the ancient arena gathered on the blue-haired youth of the northern stage. In the blink of an eye he had gone from the early stages of the true human rank to the early stages of the true mystic rank. Northern stage. Boom! Zhao Feng and goddess Bing Wei faced each other, and the two powerful auras clashed on the stage made it hard for the geniuses below to breathe. True mystic rank, mental energy level. True mystic rank, root of law. True mystic rank, source of true spirit. From the surface, Zhao Feng was no different from the early stages of the true mystic rank. The plan has succeeded. Reaching the top 10 and challenging overwhelming prodigies is no longer a dream. Zhao Feng's heart was filled with excitement, and his every action connected to the heaven and earth and released the chi of true spirit of the true mystic rank, increasing his strength by several times. When Zhao Feng found that his mental energy level was high enough to form a root of law, he had a flash of inspiration and had this bold plan. At that time, Zhao Feng's thought was that once he formed the root of law, apart from his true force cultivation, there wouldn't be much difference between him and the true mystic rank. However, he still had the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. After forming the root of law and controlling the water moon pirate's source of true spirit, how much difference would there be between him and the true mystic rank? This plan was shockingly bold, and it was a godlike turn of events. Once successful, everything was possible for Zhao Feng in this sacred true dragon gathering, and he could even challenge the overwhelming prodigies. Of course. Apart from luck, there were two other important factors for this plan to succeed. 1. Forming the root of law and merging the essence and intent of the mystic flower treasured Bible. 2. The water moon pirate's source of true spirit. Neither of the two could be missing, and both were extremely harsh. Normal experts at the true spirit realm wouldn't be able to keep their source of true spirit when they died and wouldn't be able to give it to others. However, the water moon pirate had the heaven's legacy inheritance's sealing technique that could seal his source of true spirit in a special state. This was the water moon pirate's meticulous plan to give a generous gift to the inheritor of the mystic flower treasured Bible. Although Zhao Feng didn't cultivate the mystic flower treasured Bible, he had inherited the source of true spirit in a different way. Wonderful. Truly exquisite. Tiamat, who was at the spectator stand, slammed the table and stood up. He was excited and pleased, which was rarely seen. As the deputy patriarch of the Iron Blood religion, Tiamat obviously knew about Zhao Feng's past. Now, when Zhao Feng's results came out, Tiamat naturally guessed most of it. Tiamat was not the only one who clapped the table and cheered. Those who were familiar with Zhao Feng, those who knew Zhao Feng personally, and those who thought highly of Zhao Feng, were all shouting and cheering at the same time. Too strong. Junior brother Zhao, you've once again subverted the understanding of the world. On the spectating stand, Yang Gan's eyes were brimming with tears and his voice was trembling. Ever since he had come to the sacred true dragon gathering, he had watched each of Zhao Feng's battles. Yang Gan faintly understood why First Elder had sent him to watch the sacred true dragon gathering. Great! Brother Zhao Feng, you've succeeded. Zhao Yufei cried tears of joy. Lu Qinxin, Dai Yi, Jiang Sanfeng and company were overjoyed. The geniuses of the Canopy Great Country such as Prince Jin, Tian Yunji and company were both shocked and proud. Oh my God, this is a miracle. He can't even be described as a black horse. The square-faced youth was filled with excitement and pride. He had always thought highly of Zhao Feng and didn't agree with senior brother Qin Kunwu. Qin Kunwu's face was filled with shock and speechlessness. The shocking turn of events in the northern region arena had shaken the entire ancient arena, igniting the blood of countless young geniuses. Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng. Challenge an overwhelming prodigy. We'll support you. The cheers of the crowd were like the tide. The legend of the overwhelming prodigy was like a shadow that shrouded the geniuses of this era. And Zhao Feng was this miraculous horse. He had reversed the situation like a god and was charging at an overwhelming prodigy. In the air above the arena, on the stage. Unbelievable. The source of true spirit sealed within his body is probably a secret technique from the Heaven's legacy inheritance. He struggled step by step and didn't admit defeat even when he knew he was going to lose. This determination and perseverance is the prerequisite for him to create miracles. The sovereign sighed. If Zhao Feng thought he was going to lose and admitted defeat right from the start, would there still be a chance for him to create miracles? However, the word admit defeat didn't exist in Zhao Feng's dictionary. He could lose, but he couldn't admit defeat. Thinking up to here, Tiamat on the spectating stand couldn't help but think. He remembered how he had given up and admitted defeat time and time again. If he had persevered back then, he might be at the origin core realm right now. Mo Tianyi had the same thoughts. His fists were clenched and his body was trembling. Mo Tianyi suddenly realized that he was lacking something. When he faced the overwhelming prodigy Yu Tianhao, he admitted defeat in one move. At that time, he could see the faint disappointment on Yu Tianhao's face. Compared to the difference between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei, the difference between him and Yu Tianhao wasn't that big. Good. Only an opponent like this is worthy of respect. Yu Tianhao's eyes flashed. There was a battle thirst in his blood that burned and the will in his eyes was stronger than ever. Yu Tianhao stood at the peak of the continent and was said to be unparalleled for dozens of generations. At the same time, he had surpassed the Scarlet Moon religion patriarch and sword saint Yu Wuxie. The #1 genius in history. Everyone glanced over. This cold and lonely peerless genius was praising and admiring someone for the first time. Unknowingly, everyone's evaluation of Zhao Feng went up another level. Yu Xingqian, the bloodline of your Yu family is a wonder of the heavens and earth. It can't be touched, but it does exist. This son of yours has some potential. The bronze-skinned giant, Deputy Palace Lord, said with interest. In the ancient era, my Yu family had a bloodline ancestor called Yu Wushuang who was said to be unparalleled in the world. His will was to be unparalleled in the world. Sovereign Yu Xingqian said with yearning. Then did Yu Wushuang do it? One of the venerables at the side teased. There was no such thing as being truly unparalleled. He did succeed. But in the end, he was unable to advance any further and died alone. This is the ancestral teaching of my Yu family, passed down from generation to generation. Yu Xingqian said solemnly. The sovereigns present couldn't help but think after hearing this. The Yu Wushuang that Yu Xingqian was talking about was just a legend. Whether or not Yu Wushuang was unparalleled wasn't the main point but the meaning of the teachings. Northern Stage. Zhao Feng's every move contained the root of law that he had comprehended in his life and connected with the mysteries of heaven and earth. Ta! He roared and each of his attacks contained the cultivation of the early stages of the true mystic rank. In a battle between experts, everyone's cultivation was the most basic strength. Secondly, skills, bloodline power and weapons were all factors that increased one's strength. Zhao Feng's current cultivation base was comparable to the early stages of the true mystic rank and adding on the root of law and bloodline power, he could kill normal true spirit realm experts with a casual attack. How is this possible? The overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei exclaimed in her heart. Her face was filled with shock and doubt, as if she couldn't accept this reality. At the start, she had to hide her strength in case she killed someone on purpose, which would affect her sacred true dragon gathering result. Her plan was to let the poison corrode Zhao Feng's body and turn him into an ice corpse. He wouldn't be able to participate in the sacred true dragon gathering and would die within half a year. However, the plan didn't succeed and the opponent broke through again and again. The godlike reversal at the end gave her a heavy blow. It seemed that all her hard work and planning had helped increase the strength of her opponent. At this point in time Goddess Bing Wei was using her full strength to fight against Zhao Feng. Goddess Bing Wei's bloodline and skill were both strong and her overall strength was at the top of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. However, the problem was that Zhao Feng's bloodline power could absorb and convert the power of ice, which slightly countered Goddess Bing Wei. When the difference in cultivation wasn't too big, Zhao Feng's bloodline power had the advantage. Adding on the fact that Zhao Feng had the protection of the three-flowered treasured lotus, the higher his cultivation base the stronger his defense. Back then the Water Moon Pirate could even block the attacks of a true lord rank for a short amount of time with the three-flowered treasured lotus. The sad thing was, all of Goddess Bing Wei's attacks were of the ice element. Any attack that got close to Zhao Feng would be absorbed by the ice figure and thrown by at least 50% and even increase the endurance of Zhao Feng's bloodline. Specialization was indeed the best path to the peak. But under the same cultivation, it was sad when a specialization met an all-rounder. Zhao Feng's attacks could pass through the mental energy and physical dimensions. Lightning Fire God's Eye. A faint azure lightning fire flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. Boom! Lightning and fire even stronger than before landed on Goddess Bing Wei's body and started to burn. Even though she had the mystic ice jade charming body, she didn't dare be careless. His eye flame is getting stronger and stronger. Goddess Bing Wei's body and mind were suffering from a lot of burning pain, especially on the mental level. Even the overwhelming prodigies had to be careful. From this one could see the power of Zhao Feng's lightning fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng didn't chase and instead tried to absorb the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Only by completely merging with the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit can I be considered a true mystic rank. Zhao Feng wasn't fooled by the power in front of him. From the looks of it, his mental energy level and chi of true spirit had both reached the true mystic rank. But this was all on the surface. Only by completely absorbing the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit and merging it with his body, mental energy, and root of law, as well as not rejecting his own mind, energy, and mind, would it be considered a success. My true cultivation right now is at most near the peak true human rank. Zhao Feng's heart was clear. Furthermore, his battle with Goddess Bing Wei was focused on defense to reduce the expenditure of his source of true spirit. Zhao Feng could borrow the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, but the more he used, the less he would have. This meant this source of true spirit was the source of death and had no ability to regenerate. Unless this source of true spirit completely belonged to Zhao Feng and through Zhao Feng's body, it had the ability to recover. At that time, Zhao Feng would be a true mystic rank. Therefore, Zhao Feng focused on defense and occasionally used his lightning fire God's Eye to make Goddess Bing Wei wary. Secretly, he used his root of law to merge with the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Every bit he converted would increase Zhao Feng's true cultivation by a bit. Chapter 359. Northern Stage. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei were in a stalemate. Being one of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice skill surpassed all geniuses of this generation. At least in the ancient arena, there wasn't a second genius that could compare to her in terms of ice elemental skills. However, this was where she was at a disadvantage. Her mystic ice skill was countered by Zhao Feng's bloodline power. Under a situation where the difference in cultivation wasn't too big, Zhao Feng's ice figure and throne had strong resistance against ice and could absorb it to increase his bloodline power. Adding on the 3-flowered treasured lotus defense, Zhao Feng could last a long time when he was on the defensive. Luckily, the first overwhelming prodigy I met was Goddess Bing Wei. If it was any other overwhelming prodigy, even if my plan succeeded, I probably wouldn't be able to last long. Zhao Feng wasn't arrogant enough to think he had reached the level of an overwhelming prodigy. His bloodline secret art perfectly countered Goddess Bing Wei's ice cultivation art and bloodline. This was why he could barely protect himself. The current situation. Goddess Bing Wei's overwhelming prodigy strength was still suppressing Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng defended more than attacked and occasionally used the lightning fire God's Eye to open up the situation and make Goddess Bing Wei wary. It wasn't that Zhao Feng didn't try to attack Goddess Bing Wei, but the latter's mystic ice jade charming body's defense was extremely strong and also had strong resistance against ice attacks. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bing Wei's defense was one of the top and even stronger than Yu Tianhao's. Therefore, Zhao Feng couldn't do anything to Goddess Bing Wei, so he focused on defense and quickly absorbed the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Soon, 100 moves had passed. Zhao Feng had absorbed a portion of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, and his true cultivation was close to the peak true human rank. As long as I completely absorb the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, my cultivation will at least reach the early stages of the true mystic rank. Zhao Feng was secretly delighted. His realm was sufficient, and the concept and profundities contained within the root of profound corresponded with the mystic flower treasured Bible, so there wouldn't be a situation where his realm was unstable. However, as time passed, Zhao Feng discovered a problem. Compared to his own source of true spirit, the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit was purer and more abundant. Once he completely absorbed the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, it would change the nature of Zhao Feng's source of true spirit. At that time, Zhao Feng would have to change to the mystic flower treasured Bible. All along, Zhao Feng had focused on the lightning inheritance as his core cultivation, and the mystic flower treasure book was secondary. There were 2 reasons for this choice. Firstly, in terms of attack power, the lightning inheritance was stronger, and it excelled in speed. Secondly, Zhao Feng had cultivated the lightning inheritance long ago and had a deep foundation. Furthermore, this inheritance had a certain chance of breaking through to the primal core realm. Only by using the lightning inheritance as the core can I guarantee my strength and offensive power. Zhao Feng made a decision without hesitation. This way, Zhao Feng would have to give up a portion of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit and slow down the speed of absorption. Water Moon God Peach Fan. With a pa, an elegant mountain and water fan appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. Since he had to give up a portion of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, Zhao Feng wouldn't purposely conserve his chi of true spirit. Hu Peng. He waved the mountain and river folding fan in his hand, and layers of ice and lightning fan shadows with an imposing aura smashed towards Goddess Bing Wei like a flood. Goddess Bing Wei snickered coldly and pointed out with her jade hand. Tens of thousands of ice arrows shot towards Zhao Feng like a swarm of locusts. Pew pew pew. Those huge ice and thunder fan shadows were instantly riddled with holes. Ice and thunder exploded, and electric waves spread in all directions. Boom, the large area attacks of the true mystic rank clashed on the stage, and the slightest shockwave could heavily injure those at the true spirit realm. Even with the help of the Water Moon God Peach Fan, Zhao Feng's attacks were easily destroyed by Goddess Bing Wei. One had to know. At this point in time, the Water Moon God Peach Fan combined with the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit and the root of law from the 2 skills, as well as Zhao Feng's bloodline power, its true power was close to the peak of the Water Moon Pirate. From this one could see that even if the Water Moon Pirate came back to life, he might not be able to beat Goddess Bing Wei and might even be at a disadvantage. Shua! Shua! The mountain and water fan in Zhao Feng's hand waved and created half-transparent petals of water and lightning that enveloped Goddess Bing Wei from all directions. This fan also contains mental energy attacks. Goddess Bing Wei's mind went numb and her blood started to boil. The Water Moon God Peach Fan not only had strong offensive power, it also had mental energy attacks. Lightning Fire God's Eye. A faint azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye as he counterattacked. Boom! The fierce azure lightning flame burned on Goddess Bing Wei's body and eroded her mental energy. This counterattack finally stopped Goddess Bing Wei's pressure on Zhao Feng. Mystic Ice Crystal Illusion Sword. A translucent ice sword suddenly appeared in Goddess Bing Wei's hand. It was a middle-tier spiritual-grade weapon, and it slashed towards Zhao Feng with a wave of cold light. Mystic Ice Crystal Illusion Sword. This is Goddess Bing Wei's ice elemental weapon from the mystic ice inheritance and can greatly increase the power of ice. The sword is extremely sharp and can create illusions and even contains a mental energy attack. Mo Tianyi from the middle zone exclaimed as he looked at Zhao Feng with a complicated gaze. Ever since Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice divine technique had reached the peak of her cultivation and was close to the true lord rank, she rarely used weapons. But now Zhao Feng, a black horse, had forced Goddess Bing Wei to use her weapon. Facing the ice sword light and the ever-changing illusions, Zhao Feng felt an inexplicable pressure. However, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Her attacks contain illusions that make it hard to tell which is real and which can pierce through mental energy. Zhao Feng scanned with his left eye and came to a conclusion. In this state, Goddess Bing Wei's terrifying attacks, illusionary swords, and mental energy combined into one caused the other overwhelming prodigies to pale in fright. However, the sad thing was that Goddess Bing Wei was once again countered by Zhao Feng. Firstly, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye destroyed the illusions with one glance. As for the mental energy attack, Zhao Feng could basically ignore it. Zhao Feng was an existence that had stepped into the ancient Tao of the soul and had cultivated mental energy for many years. His god's spiritual eye was immune to mental energy attacks. This way, Goddess Bing Wei's weapon only had a sharper attack. This did indeed put more pressure on Zhao Feng. Open. Zhao Feng waved the mountain water fan in his hand. Crack. Crack. The water moon immortal peach fan suddenly turned into the shape of an umbrella. It had a diameter of 3 meters and protected his body as it spun rapidly. Ding ding boom, the umbrella-shaped water moon god peach fan spun rapidly, blocking and diverting the attack. This was the first layer of protection. After that was the second layer of the 3-flowered treasured lotus, which had stronger defense and the ability to move. Shua! The 3-flowered treasured lotus took Zhao Feng and sped towards Goddess Bing Wei. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's 2 layers of defense were like a turtle shell and his bloodline could absorb Goddess Bing Wei's attacks. You're courting death. Goddess Bing Wei's eyes were cold and a transparent ice wind appeared in her hand that gave off a forbidden coldness. Zhao Feng knew that this was Goddess Bing Wei's killing move. Even with all his defenses, he couldn't block it head-on. Lightning Fire God's Eye. Boom! A ball of azure lightning fire exploded on Goddess Bing Wei's body and eroded her mental energy dimension, interrupting her secret technique. Damn it! Goddess Bing Wei gritted her teeth. The only thing she was wary of was Zhao Feng's eye bloodline's secret technique, which was instantly activated and turned the situation around. Soon, Zhao Feng's figure neared Goddess Bing Wei and secretly circulated the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. The fragrance of the 3-flowered treasured lotus was released. Shameless. Goddess Bing Wei smelled the fragrance and her body became hot as she was affected by the aphrodisiac fragrance. So. Seeing Goddess Bing Wei's figure quickly retreat and maintain a distance from Zhao Feng, the latter closed in step by step. The 3-flowered treasured lotus was indeed worthy of being the water moon pirate's most precious treasure. Although it didn't have any offensive abilities, it had support, defense and movement abilities. The 3-flowered treasured lotus fragrance is effective on all 3 levels of the true spirit realm. Only those at the true lord rank can resist it. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. He had now inherited the water moon pirate's legacy and controlled most of its essence. As long as a true lord rank didn't appear, he could protect himself easily. If Zhao Feng's cultivation was close to the water moon pirates, then even a true lord rank wouldn't be able to do anything to him. The battle is over. A dignified voice echoed throughout the northern stage like a bell between the heavens and earth. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei were both stunned by a terrifying pressure and their figures stopped. The two turned their gazes towards the judge. Your duel lasted for an hour and ended in a draw. The judge said expressionlessly. Hu Zhao Feng couldn't help but let out a long breath. He wanted to absorb the water moon pirate's source of true spirit and consolidate his root of law. Goddess Bing Wei's face was filled with hatred and killing intent as she gritted her teeth. With the sovereign judge's announcement, the ancient arena was dead silent for a moment before erupting into cheers, as if they were celebrating for Zhao Feng. In this era, the 5 overwhelming prodigies were like a shadow that shrouded countless geniuses. They desperately needed someone who could shake the overwhelming prodigies and break the shadow of the legend. And Zhao Feng was a miraculous dark horse. His godlike turnaround allowed him to charge at the overwhelming prodigies and ultimately win a draw. Although this battle is a draw, Bing Wei. Because you challenged Zhao Feng and lost, you lost twice the normal amount of dragon blessing. Although it's a draw, you'll lose the normal amount of dragon blessing. The judge emotionlessly waved the true dragon flag in his hand. One powerful dragon blessing flowed from the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei into Zhao Feng's body. In an instant, the true dragon token on Zhao Feng's body released a blinding silver light and a true dragon light surrounded his body. Chapter 360. The rules of the sacred True Dragon Gathering were extremely strict. If one challenged someone and didn't follow the rules, they would have to pay a price if they failed. Goddess Bing Wei and Zhao Feng ended in a draw, but the former had to pay a part of her dragon blessing. When Zhao Feng's dragon blessing instantly rose by 10 times and jumped into the top 20 of the sacred True Dragon Gathering, on par with Mo Tianyi and Qin Kunwu. The dragon blessing of an overwhelming prodigy is indeed strong. Just losing a small portion was enough to make my strength rise so much. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. After all, the final ranking of the sacred True Dragon Gathering wasn't based on the number of wins and losses but the dragon blessing. This meant that Zhao Feng had jumped to the peak of the continent and was only below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. High up in the air on the stage. This brat is unquestionably the number 1 black horse. Until the very last moment, everything is hard to predict. For example, that Xian Wuheng has been restricting his cultivation. Murong Fan and Sang Yuyue from the western zone and Zhao Yufei and the Tuoba family's successor from the eastern zone all have great potential. The eyes of the 9 sovereigns were like torches as they scanned the crowd. They knew which geniuses were hiding something and which ones had great potential. Zhao Feng was unquestionably the number 1 black horse of this sacred True Dragon Gathering, but his cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds and his potential had been squeezed out. On the other hand, Xian Wuheng, Murong Fan, Sang Yuyue, Zhao Yufei and the Tuoba family's successor all had great potential. Right at this moment. In the clouds above the ancient Colosseum, all sorts of blurry images of every shape and form appeared. 1, 2, another 2 inheritances. Those from the Sacred Alliance watched the changes above. At this point in time there were a total of 4 inheritance projections excluding the Scarlet Moon inheritance. Zhao Feng walked off the stage and couldn't help but look at the inheritance projections in the clouds. This is a great era that surpasses the past. Will the most ancient and mysterious Heaven's Legacy inheritance appear? Many experts and geniuses couldn't help but be fascinated. According to legend, every time the prophet's inheritance appeared, it would cause a great change in the world and affect the situation of the entire continent. However, the inheritance of the Heaven's Legacy had not appeared for a very, very long time. Not long ago, the projection of the Scarlet Moon inheritance was taken by the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, and the Sacred Alliance could swallow this humiliation. How could there not be a trace of higher expectations? He returned to the audience. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and focused on consolidating his root of law while slowly absorbing and converting the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. The Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit was purer than Zhao Feng's. If he was assimilated by this source of true spirit, then Zhao Feng would be forced to cultivate the mystic flower treasured Bible, which was something he didn't want to see. Therefore, he first recovered and strengthened his source of true spirit to slow down the absorption of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Every time he absorbed a strand of his source of true spirit, Zhao Feng would use his true spirit lightning flame to refine it and brand it with the lightning inheritance. This way, Zhao Feng wasn't just absorbing, he was also refining. Luckily, Zhao Feng's true spirit lightning flame was extremely strong. It was a peak destructive flame of true spirit that surpassed most spiritual flames. As the 5 zones battle competition came to an end, Zhao Feng continued to refine and absorb the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, using every second to consolidate and increase his cultivation. Finally, before the end of the 5 zones battle competition, Zhao Feng's cultivation had stabilized at the peak true human rank. Any further increase would be very slow as there was an invisible bottleneck. I've refined 1/3 of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. There's still 2/3 left. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he started to think. Even if he used the true spirit lightning flame to refine the source of true spirit, it would still assimilate with his own source of true spirit. After all, the 2 sources of true spirit were formed from 2 completely different techniques. I can only absorb half of the remaining 2 source of true spirit and have a 50-50 chance of breaking through to the true mystic rank. If I exceed it, my source of true spirit will be assimilated and lose the essence of the lightning inheritance. Zhao Feng's mind kept on calculating. This meant that he had to find a way to use one of the 2 remaining source of true spirit from the Water Moon Pirate. Using it, Zhao Feng's eyes lit up as he had another bold plan. Everyone knew that the source of true spirit was the source of the chi of true spirit. Once it was destroyed, those at the true spirit realm would lose their cultivation. Therefore, the source of true spirit was the essence of an expert at the true spirit realm and was equivalent to half their life. At the critical moment, I can burn my chi of true spirit and even the remaining portion of my source of true spirit. What kind of battle power would that have? Thinking up to here, Zhao Feng laughed in his heart. Under normal situations, burning the chi of true spirit would increase one's battle power, but it would harm one's foundation. However, Zhao Feng was going to give up on this part of the source of true spirit. Invisibly, Zhao Feng had another trump card. At this moment, the first round of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering 5 zones has ended. The top 500 will enter the second round, True Dragon 100 Top. A loud and powerful voice reverberated throughout the ancient arena. The second round was the True Dragon Top 100. Comparatively speaking, this round was much simpler. 100 True Dragon geniuses were chosen. The True Dragon Top 100 was also the origin of the continent's True Dragon geniuses. Only by reaching the top 100 in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering could one be called a True Dragon genius. Top 100, Beimoi smiled bitterly. In the first round, he fought many battles, but his winning rate was less than half. This result obviously meant that he wouldn't be able to participate in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. It failed. Dong Shue's eyes were moist. Buzz. Zhao Feng found that his True Dragon token had lit up and his dragon blessing was rising. Meanwhile, the True Dragon tokens of the losers started to dim and their dragon blessings started to disappear. Ka-cha! Ka-cha! The loser's True Dragon token shattered one by one and their dragon blessing was taken by the winner. There were at least 3,000 people participating in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering but only 500 advanced to the next round. Zhao Feng felt his dragon blessing become stronger and a faint golden light appeared on his True Dragon token. The genius dragon luck of the 5 peerless geniuses rose a few zhang into the sky, emitting a brilliant golden glow. Rumble, the ancient Colosseum began to shake violently. The surrounding stone statues and the legendary divine statues emitted a strange energy that seemed to pierce through the heavens and the earth, giving people the illusion that the world was shaking. The geniuses within almost couldn't breathe as they looked up to the sky in awe. The ancient Colosseum was slowly changing. The feeling of the shaking was amplified tenfold by some kind of power. The second round, True Dragon 100 Top. Zhao Feng watched the changes in the ancient arena. The 5 arenas sank bit by bit. Finally, they merged into the arena and disappeared. It was truly a coincidence. According to what Zhao Feng knew, the ancient arena was connected to the Heaven's legacy inheritance. Sometimes, the primordial Colosseum will trigger some unpredictable changes based on the Dragon Providence's situation. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord looked at the stone statues around the ancient arena. Behind each and every one of those stone statues was a legend that shocked the heavens and made ghosts and gods weep. Some of the tallest statues were people from the heavens and earth. This was especially true for the 10 tallest, sky-propping stone statues. They seemed to stand side by side with the heavens and the earth, majestic and boundless. They were at least several hundred zhang tall, and some were even close to 10,000 zhang tall. Even the deputy palace lord of the Sacred Alliance had deep respect in his eyes when he looked at these statues. Zhao Feng stared at the ancient arena and once again had that weird feeling. It was as if the stone statues had a life of their own and were watching their every move. Boom! A transparent layer of light suddenly appeared in the center of the ancient arena. The transparent membrane slowly expanded, from the initial radius of 1 kilometer, to dozens of kilometers. Within the layer of light, one could clearly see the outline of the terrain such as mountains, rivers, lakes, forests etc. From this angle, it looked like a map but it was the same as the real thing. This is the ancient spatial domain array. A secret dimension created by the power of the heavens. The space inside the space field spell formation is several times larger than the space in the real world, or even dozens of times larger. The 9 sovereigns were all knowledgeable and had even been to the outside world. Zhao Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath and open his god's spiritual eye. The ancient spatial domain array was a secret dimension of its own. From the outside, one could clearly see what was going on inside the sky field formation without any obstructions. This feeling was like an illusion of looking down at another world. Just how big is this world and how many new things are there? Zhao Feng felt that ever since he had stepped into the sacred true dragon gathering, he had come into contact with a completely different world. Shua! The transparent layer of light quickly extended and soon covered the entire ancient arena. The transparent layer of light was like a ripple of water that passed through all the geniuses. Shua! 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 The geniuses all entered a new world and those with broken true dragon tokens were all eliminated and moved out of the arena. This is... Zhao Feng found that he was standing on a plain and there were some dazed geniuses far away. It's the same true dragon 100 top, but why is it different this time? Mo Tianyi, Prince Jin and the others that had participated in the sacred true dragon gathering were slightly surprised. Through the spectating stands and the stage in the air, one could clearly see the scene within the transparent layer of light. A total of 500 geniuses were scattered in an independent dimension of 1,000 miles. Some geniuses were in mountain caves, some were in dense forests, some were in the clouds, and some were in rivers. Such a complicated terrain tests one's battle prowess even more. It's no longer an open battle. The 9 sovereigns on the stage observed the situation within the transparent space. What are the rules of this stage? The 500 geniuses were scattered across the transparent space and didn't know what to do. What was wrong? The 9 sovereigns looked at each other and felt that something was wrong. Deputy Palace Lord, not good. The second segment was automatically triggered by the primordial arena. It was different from the previous segments. We've lost control of the sacred true dragon gathering. A white-bearded sovereign flew over with an anxious look on his face. Chapter 361. We've lost control of the sacred true dragon gathering. The shocking news made the expressions of the 9 sovereigns change slightly. The Sacred Alliance was shaken. The first round of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering Battle of 5 Zones was completely under the control of the Sacred Alliance. However, when it came to the second segment, the ancient arena automatically activated, producing some kind of ancient profound understanding power, forming a brand new competition venue. Within the light membrane, there were mountains, rivers, and forests, forming a small space of its own. A total of 500 geniuses were scattered across the secret realm and didn't know what to do. The ancient arena is ancient and mysterious. It's even older than the Sacred Alliance and the 10 great clans. It contains the power of the heavens and earth. The deputy palace master, the bronze-skinned giant, stared at the stone statue mountains around the ancient arena with a face full of respect. But what will happen if we lose control of the sacred true dragon gathering? If any great changes were to occur, these geniuses are the future of the continent. They are the most glorious generation in all of history. The sovereigns were all worried. The bronze-skinned giant said, "The most important thing right now is to find out what the rules of the second round are." The gazes of the sovereigns turned towards the white-bearded sovereign. Rules? I'm afraid there are no rules. The white-bearded sovereign smiled bitterly. No rules. The expressions of the sovereigns changed dramatically. In the second round, the ancient arena had placed all the geniuses into a small dimension. Even the Sacred Alliance couldn't interfere. As for the rules, there were no hints. Could it be that these geniuses can do anything in the spatial zone array? Kill, set fire, gang up, destroy, anything? The mystic sword sovereign took a deep breath. That should be the case. Analyzing the spatial zone array, the people outside can only look inside and the people inside can't see outside. We can't do anything. The white-bearded sovereign shook his head. The sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance had lived for several hundred years and had witnessed many sacred true dragon gatherings. However, this was the first time they had seen the ancient arena take back control of the sacred true dragon gathering. If that's the case, then let's wait and see. The deputy palace lord's voice was emotionless. Within the barrier of light, the 500 geniuses were scattered around and were dazed at the start before becoming restless like flies. They were in this small space, but they couldn't see what was happening outside. However, the people in the spectator stands could see every detail of the fight from all angles. Unable to contact the outside world, what happened to the sacred true dragon gathering? Zhao Feng stood on the plain and frowned. Unlike most geniuses, he was calm and collected. Whoosh! Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and through the light membrane, he could see the spectator stands outside the ancient arena, including the oval stage above him. At the same time, the inheritors of the 3 eye bloodlines of the continent all used their eye bloodlines to observe the scene outside. In the end, the ghost-eyed man had failed. His eye bloodline wasn't good at seeing through things. The successor of the Tuoba family had tried and failed. In the entire light membrane space, only Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could see through the light membrane and see the situation outside. Of course, this didn't mean that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was stronger than the 3 families. His god's spiritual eye was good at X-ray vision, telescopic vision and microscopic insight. This was the foundation of a strong learning and replication ability. This brat's eyes seem to be able to see us. Sovereign Yu Xingqian lightly inspected Zhao Feng in the light membrane. But right at this moment, Zhao Feng took back his gaze as if it was just an illusion. A while later, Zhao Feng found the highest mountain in the area and looked down at the geography of the Shroud of Light. Shua! With a scan of the god's spiritual eye, a map of the entire light membrane space appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Perfect timing, location and people. Zhao Feng first controlled the location and understood the situation in the light membrane space. After finishing this step, Zhao Feng didn't move and instead observed the situation in the light membrane space. Soon, the figures of fighting appeared near the river zone. Taiyun Shuangzi first attacked a peak true human rank genius. With the overwhelming prodigy's strength, 1 or 2 moves caused the genius to spit out blood and fall to the ground. Kacha! Taiyun Shuangzi's big brother chopped off the genius' arm. Ah! The genius screamed and knelt on the ground begging, "I admit defeat. Stop. However, the weird thing was that although he admitted defeat, his dragon blessing didn't change at all. There was no one enforcing the rules in this trial. What's going on? We beat our opponent and didn't take his dragon blessing. What shit, sacred true dragon gathering, what's wrong with it? Taiyun Shuangzi roared in anger and unwillingness as he vented his anger on the genius and punched and kicked him. The genius was beaten half to death. Mercy, mercy. I'll give you my true dragon token. The genius cried as he gave the true dragon token to Taiyun Shuangzi. When the instant Taiyun Shuangzi received the true dragon token on his body released a bright golden dragon light that rose 1 yard into the air. Kacha! The genius true dragon token instantly dimmed and shattered. Ha ha ha, this feels great. As long as I take the true dragon token, I can take all of the opponent's dragon blessing. Taiyun Shuangzi sucked in a large amount of dragon blessing and couldn't help but roar towards the sky. In the first round of the sacred true dragon gathering, he could only take 1/5 of the opponent's dragon blessing. But now, taking one true dragon token could take all of the opponent's dragon blessing. This scene obviously fell into the eyes of the spectators. I understand, this trial is about plundering by any means necessary. A real battle without any restrictions can better reflect a person's true strength. Sovereign Yuxingchen's eyes lit up. That's right, there are too many factors that affect strength, including schemes, will, potential, etc. A competition with restrictions and misgivings will greatly limit a person's true strength. Good, but isn't this a bit too cruel? These are the geniuses of the continent. The sovereigns had different opinions, but the majority agreed. At the same time, Zhao Feng, who was standing on the mountain, couldn't help but think after seeing this scene. This trial doesn't seem to have any restrictions. It doesn't matter what method I use as long as I can get the true dragon token. After Zhao Feng finished his analysis, he felt an inexplicable excitement and joy. He preferred to engage in actual combat. This environment was undoubtedly more suitable for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye continued to pay attention to Taiyun Shuangzi's situation. The crippled genius wasn't kicked out after losing his true dragon token. What did this mean? Not kicked out. Although my true dragon token was taken by Taiyun Shuangzi, I can still take other people's. I still have a chance. The peak true human rank's eyes twinkled as a sliver of hope appeared in his heart. Now he needed to use all his methods to steal other people's true dragon tokens. Thinking up to hear a cold light flashed in his eyes and he ran away under Taiyun Shuangzi's scolding. Humph. I'll let you live if you know what's good for you. Hee hee. Now we're going to start a massacre. Those that don't hand over their true dragon token, will be killed without mercy. Taiyun Shuangzi's face was cruel as he leapt towards the figures in front of him in search of new prey. In less than half the time it took tea to be made, the sounds of killing could be heard. Ah! A blood-curdling scream came from a hillside. A genius that didn't hand over his true dragon token was killed by Taiyun Shuangzi. Hua! All the experts in the spectator stands exclaimed in shock. The elder of the killed genius couldn't help but protest and wanted to cancel Taiyun Shuangzi's right to participate in the sacred True Dragon Gathering. Sorry everyone, the sacred True Dragon Gathering has entered a glorious era and the ancient arena has automatically started. The rules mean that there are no rules. The bronze-skinned Deputy Palace Lord's emotionless voice sounded across the spectating stands. The rules meant that there were no rules. The crowd broke out into chaos. Guests from all over the continent, the Sacred Alliance has lost control of the sacred True Dragon Gathering. This isn't something we want. The white-bearded sovereign said. The elders of the various forces all took in a cold breath. However, the truth was like this. The sacred True Dragon Gathering had lost control and even the Sacred Alliance couldn't control it. Killing, ambushing, gang beating, arson. None of the methods went against the rules in the second stage. The rules meant that there were no rules. Don't you think that under the baptism of blood and metal, the potential of these geniuses will be stimulated and increase the dragon blessing of the continent? The bronze-skinned giant's eyes were filled with cruelty, excitement and expectation. Bloody battles and whatnot were nothing to these venerables. They had seen all sorts of scenes. No one went against the decision of the Sacred Alliance Deputy Palace Lord. Most people didn't know the Deputy Palace Lord's strength and only knew that he could threaten some sovereigns. He had even fought with the Scarlet Moon demonic religion and Sword Saint Yi Wuxia before. Those familiar with him knew that he was also a bloodthirsty person. Within the barrier of light, cries of killing sounded as the geniuses from all over started to fight. Of course, there were very few people as cruel as Taiyun Shuangzi. In normal battles, as long as one side was willing to hand over their true dragon token, they wouldn't be killed. After all, they were all from the same continent. If they killed someone, they might offend a powerful force or even a venerable one. Geniuses that could reach this step all had strong backgrounds and were at least at the true lord rank. There were also some geniuses that were descendants or successors of sovereigns. Let's go. Zhao Feng's figure flashed and floated down from the peak. His god's spiritual eye soon found a direction. At a certain moment, a crystal blue bow appeared in Zhao Feng's hand and the 3 silver arrows instantly returned to their places. Chiu, an arrow of ice and lightning shot into the forest at twice the speed of sound. Ah! A dark-clothed youth fell to the ground with a plop. His shoulder had been pierced by the Luoho arrow and the power of ice and lightning eroded him. He was instantly paralyzed and unable to move. How is this possible? How did you see through my darkness secret concealment technique? The dark-clothed youth was shocked. Meow meow. A silver-gray thieving cat appeared next to the dark-clothed youth and with a schwa took his true dragon token. Chapter 362. The second round was even crueler and Zhao Feng told the little thieving cat to help him. The little thieving cat was his spiritual pet. Even if it appeared in the first round, it wouldn't be breaking the rules, let alone the second round where there were no rules. You're Zhao Feng. The dark-clothed youth watched as the little thieving cat took his true dragon token and all his dragon blessing went towards Zhao Feng. Being the #1 black horse of this sacred true dragon gathering, most geniuses obviously knew Zhao Feng. Beng Qiu, Zhao Feng ignored him and shot out 2 more arrows in the blink of an eye. They flew towards the forest and the clouds. The new Luoho bow had been forged by Master Taigon and both the bow and arrows were close to the middle-tier spiritual grade. Its power even surpassed normal middle-tier spiritual grade weapons. Whoosh! Whoosh! The Luoho arrow flashed with lightning and another 2 figures fell off their horses. The genius hidden in the clouds had reached the true mystic rank and his body went numb after being hit by the arrow. He instantly lost 80 to 90% of his battle power and fell down. How is this possible? I just flew here and... The true mystic rank genius gritted his teeth and circulated his chi of true spirit. Before he landed on the ground, he heard a meow, and a silver-gray cat that looked like an old fox appeared next to him. Voila! A dark silver whip with blood patterns tied him up like a spirit snake, draining him of his blood essence and power. Meow meow. The little thieving cat jumped onto his shoulder and tried to take his true dragon token. Don't even think about it. After all, this prodigy was at the true mystic rank and his chi of true spirit surged furiously, creating a strong wind. Paw! A cat's paw ruthlessly slapped his face. Suddenly, the world spun around him, and his face burned. Before he could react, the little thieving cat took his true dragon token and gave it to its owner. And, I have a helper and his speed isn't bad. Zhao Feng's dragon blessing glowed even brighter. A third of the silver token had turned gold and silver. There was a faint silhouette of a golden-silver dragon on his body, and a dragon's roar could be heard as it revolved around him. Next, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could theoretically see through the entire secret realm, as long as there weren't any large objects in the way. Instantly, the human and cat started to move around in the light dimension and used various methods to steal true dragon tokens without any effort. Every time the Luoho Bao rang, it meant that at least one person fell off his horse. On the spectator stand and the oval platform, the experts from the various forces widened their eyes. Fuck. This is too fast. This Xiao Feng seems to be very familiar with the terrain of this space. None of the people hiding in the dark can escape his eyes. Zhao Feng's figure shuttled back and forth in the space, catching one at a time. His archery skills that surpassed miracles and his eyesight that could see through everything made this genius dark horse feel like a fish in water in a completely new and unfamiliar environment. That efficiency and speed left people speechless. The sovereigns on the stage couldn't help but be stunned. This Xiao Feng has already controlled the environment and the entire situation. The bronze-skinned giant's eyes flashed as he said solemnly. Although his eye bloodline is strong, isn't it a bit exaggerated to say he's controlling the situation? A female venerable said in surprise. If you pay attention, you'll find that every time he moves, he'll meet geniuses no matter if they're in the open or in the dark. What's more, he always maintains a certain distance from the 5 overwhelming prodigies and the geniuses of the first tier. This way, his harvesting is the highest. The bronze-skinned giant's use of the word harvesting made the sovereigns nodded in agreement. Every time Zhao Feng met an opponent, he would quickly steal their true dragon token. His methods weren't as brutal as Taiyun Shuangzi's. Every time he would sneak attack or steal, he would easily get the true dragon token. Sometimes, Zhao Feng didn't even need to defeat his opponent and just needed to work with the little thieving cat to steal their true dragon token. I have to admit that little thieving cat has greatly increased his efficiency and used the smallest price to achieve his goal. The mystic sword sovereign squinted his eyes as he inspected the little thieving cat next to Zhao Feng. The little thieving cat's signature move was to slap the opponent's face with its paw and leave a burning paw print. Even those at the true mystic rank felt dizzy after being hit by the cat's paw and didn't know which way was north. NN. Looks like you've become stronger in every aspect. Zhao Feng patted the little thieving cat's head in satisfaction. The little thieving cat had eaten a large amount of his treasures. Close to half of the water moon treasury had been eaten by the little thieving cat. Of course, the effect was obvious. The little thieving cat's strength had increased by quite a bit. Although it might not be a match for a true mystic rank head-on, it could sneak attack 1 or 2 normal true mystic ranks. As for the little thieving cat's abilities, Zhao Feng still didn't know. The little thieving cat's agility was top tier and its invisibility was something that Zhao Feng could only see with his god's spiritual eye. As for its cat claws, although the power was average, it could make those at the true mystic rank dizzy, which was even more incredible. Meow meow. The little thieving cat grinned and put its hands on its waist as it wagged its tail and made a one-of-a-kind expression. Its expression and actions were perfect and could be easily understood by anyone. Schwa. Many of the guests on the spectator stand couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ha ha ha, this cat's pretty interesting. Its background probably isn't simple. The venerable ones on the oval platform could not help but laugh. Meow meow. The little thieving cat stood on Zhao Feng's shoulder and made a face towards the barrier of light with slight disdain. Ah! The expressions of the 9 sovereigns changed dramatically. This cat can see us. The sovereigns looked at each other. It was fine if the cat could see them, but it dared to be disrespectful to the sovereigns? Unknowingly, the little thieving cat had won a group of fans in the ancient arena. This was especially true for the female experts. This included the female sovereigns on the stage who stared at the little thieving cat with love. I like this cat. I'll think of a way to trade with that brat. A green-robed female venerable had a look of delight on her face. It was obvious that she liked the little thieving cat very much. Such a fun cat definitely has a powerful and mysterious ancient bloodline. From the looks of it, it signed a blood contract with that brat. Green Moon Venerable, could it be that you want to force a sale? The Mystic Sword Sovereign joked. This brat comes from the Iron Blood religion and has a sovereign behind him. He was also a member of the Alliance and once fought with me against the Scarlet Moon religion patriarch. The bronze-skinned giant said intentionally or unintentionally, as if reminding her not to have the idea of using force. All in all, I'll make use of him. The Green Moon Sovereign said confidently. Within the barrier of light. Time flew by and 2 days had passed. As the battle continued, the number of true dragon tokens continued to decrease. The geniuses that had lost their true dragon token crazily counterattacked. Killing, ambushing, all sorts of methods were used. Under this situation, forces like the 10 great clans would form a group if they had 2 or 3 geniuses. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's harvesting speed finally slowed down. One reason was because the number of true dragon tokens was decreasing. In this dimension, if one lost and their true dragon token was stolen, they would lose all their dragon blessing and their original true dragon token would shatter and disappear. Of course, the remaining true dragon tokens would become more and more valuable. Each true dragon token was at least a faint silver grade. Zhao Feng's true dragon token had turned into a brilliant gold color and the figure of a golden dragon shrouded him. His dragon blessing was extremely strong. My current dragon blessing is comparable to the 5 overwhelming prodigies of the first stage. However, after entering this dimension, the dragon blessing of the 5 overwhelming prodigies will definitely increase. Zhao Feng analyzed. He estimated that his dragon blessing would at least be in the top 10 and only below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The venerables on the oval platform looked down at the light membrane space and discovered that the 6 largest golden dragons had risen in the void. They were at least 3 meters tall. Amongst them, Yu Wushuang and Taiyun Shuangzi were close to 2 yards. The reason why it was 6 and not 5 was because one of them was extremely close to the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The source was Zhao Feng. Of the 6, Zhao Feng was the weakest. Next was Goddess Bing Wei. All the other overwhelming prodigies had won the first round. Only she had a draw with Zhao Feng and had 1/5 of her dragon blessing taken away. Within the barrier of light, the 5 golden luck dragons let out faint dragon roars that could be sensed from far away. The true dragon token was a unique existence that couldn't be put into an interspatial dimension. Therefore, the 5 overwhelming prodigies and Zhao Feng couldn't conceal their auras. A 6th dazzling golden dragon blessing. Could it be that this sacred true dragon gathering will give birth to a new overwhelming prodigy? Up to now, Zhao Feng indeed has a high chance of becoming the 6th overwhelming prodigy and pushing this era to its peak. The experts and guests on the spectator stand were all excited and looking forward to it. Although this sacred true dragon gathering had lost control, it was undoubtedly more exciting. Up to now, there were already 20 or so geniuses that had died in the barrier of light and dozens had been crippled. From this, one could see how intense the competition was. As time passed, the killing became more and more intense and casualties continued to appear. AI, there are fewer and fewer targets. Zhao Feng stood on the 3-flowered treasured lotus and sped through the air. He found many targets but they didn't have a true dragon token or were too strong and had formed a group. Run! He actually managed to condense the dazzling silhouette of a golden dragon. Is this Zhao Feng going to become the new overwhelming prodigy? He's already the 6th strongest dragon blessing. The geniuses saw Zhao Feng from afar and started to panic. At this point in time, within the light barrier, 6 dazzling golden dragon silhouettes could be seen from dozens of miles away. The powerful draconic providence they exuded could be seen clearly. It's Zhao Feng. He's actually the 6th strongest dragon blessing and is on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Mo Tianyi sensed the golden dragon blessing from afar. The geniuses nearby fled in all directions. Fight or retreat? Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng happened to be opposite each other and faced a difficult decision. Chapter 363. Within the Barrier of Light. Mo Tianyi's eyes twinkled as his handsome figure stood on the spot. Next to him was the other two geniuses of the Heavenly Yuan clan. One of them was Zhao Yufei and the other was the yellow-faced man ranked second. Brother Zhao Feng. Zhao Yufei stared at the dazzling golden dragon silhouette in the distance, feeling both happy and worried. The tokens of the three geniuses of the Heavenly Yuan clan were at least faint gold. Mo Tianyi's was pure gold, but it wasn't bright and didn't have a dragon blessing figure. Brother Mo, what do we do? The yellow-faced man's heart clenched. In this sacred true dragon gathering, Zhao Feng's momentum was too strong and had fought against overwhelming prodigies. He was without a doubt the number one black horse. No one doubted that he was the strongest genius below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Now, Zhao Feng's body was covered in dragon luck, and he seemed to be on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Mo Tianyi's expression was solemn and solemn. He wasn't as casual as when he first met Zhao Feng. That day at the Northern Star stand. The first time Mo Tianyi saw Zhao Feng, his evaluation was not bad. Today he acted as if he was facing a great enemy. Mo Tianyi had seen the battle between Zhao Feng and goddess Bing Wei from start to finish and saw Zhao Feng's miraculous steps. The shock he felt at that time was still lingering. No matter how arrogant he was, he had to admit that Zhao Feng was a terrifying enemy. The yellow-faced man's eyes twinkled as he messaged, "If the three of us team up against this brat, we won't lose at least." Perhaps Mo Tianyi facing Zhao Feng alone was a bit uncertain, but if he and Zhao Yufei were included, it would be a completely different situation. After all, there were no rules in the Barrier of Light. Sneak attacks and gang fights were all allowed. No matter who wins or loses, you two can't interfere. Mo Tianyi took a deep breath and messaged. He felt ashamed for his junior brother's words. Being the head disciple of one of the 10 great clans and the legend of the peak geniuses of the northern continent, how could Mo Tianyi gang up on a black horse? Whoosh! Zhao Feng stood on the 3-flowered treasured lotus and flew towards the direction of Mo Tianyi's group with his god's spiritual eye. The two sides were getting closer and closer. The atmosphere in the surroundings suddenly became heavy. Some of the geniuses watching from afar even held their breaths. The spectator seats outside the light film space and the venerables on the oval platform were all interested and expectant. Zhao Feng looked down from above and with his god's spiritual eye, he naturally saw Mo Tianyi and company. But he didn't back down. Instead, he inched closer and closer. The situation became even more tense. Zhao Yufei's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that brother Zhao Feng would make a move on the three of us? According to the previous records, once Zhao Feng made his move, it was basically impossible for him to fail. Looks like this battle can't be avoided. The qi of true spirit within Mo Tianyi's body started to circulate faster and faster. Every movement of his seemed to contain the profound power of the heaven-earth yuan qi. The air around him seemed to contain mountains. Zhao Yufei and the yellow-faced man retreated a certain distance and didn't interfere with Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng's battle. Before this, Mo Tianyi was the unshakable number one genius of the northern continent. Even Xian Wuheng and Xia Xiansheng had lost to him. When a transparent azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye, no longer the faint azure from before. That azure thunderfire flickered between light and dark, sparkling and translucent. It looked so beautiful, but it contained a fatal danger. The hearts of Mo Tianyi and company jumped and cursed in their hearts. Zhao Feng's lightning fire god's eye had shocked the sacred true dragon gathering in the 5 zones and was on par with the inheritors of the 3 major eyes. Even the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei was extremely wary of this eye technique. Furthermore, Now that Zhao Feng's cultivation had reached the peak true human rank, the power of the lightning fire god's eye had obviously increased. At this point in time, whether it was Mo Tianyi or the yellow-faced man, they were all on the alert. Everyone knew that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline couldn't be dodged. Once it was used, no one at the true spirit realm would be able to dodge it. Although the yellow-faced man was at the true mystic rank, he felt suffocated, as if his body and mind were being burned. Although Mo Tianyi looked calm, he didn't have any confidence in dealing with the lightning fire god's eye. Lightning fire god's eye. A transparent azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. At that moment, Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's heart skipped a beat. The lightning fire god's eye started to burn in the river 2 miles away. The powerful power of thunder and fire directly evaporated the river water within a 3-meter radius, forming a vacuum zone. Ah! A mournful howl came from the river. Then, a ghost-eyed man tumbled out of the river. Ghost-eyed man. It's him, the successor of one of the 3 eye families, the Wu family. Mo Tianyi and the people watching nearby exclaimed in shock. At the same time, they felt lucky, as if they had just survived a disaster. Everyone fixed their eyes on him. They saw the ghost-eyed man's entire body burning with a transparent green flame, lightning crackling in all directions, crackling. The power of lightning and fire passed through both the physical and mental energy dimensions and naturally entered the ghost-eyed man's mental energy dimension. Shameless brat, sneak attack. The ghost-eyed man finally extinguished the lightning and fire, but his face was black and weak. I only attacked first. You've been hiding in the river for so long, did you have any good intentions? Zhao Feng's expression was cold as if victory was within his grasp. His thunder fire god's eye had already injured the ghost-eyed man, both physically and mentally. The ghost-eyed man gritted his teeth, but he was still enduring the burning in his mental energy dimension. In the mental energy dimension, azure flames burned and lightning struck. This kind of pain was hundreds of times stronger than the physical pain. If it wasn't for the fact that he had an eye bloodline and specialized in mental energy techniques, he would have collapsed already. Seeing Zhao Feng get closer and closer, the ghost-eyed man turned into a blur and disappeared, extremely smart. However, no matter how he ran, he couldn't hide from Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye. Ghost eye soul burn. The ghost-eyed man gritted his teeth and a dark gray flame appeared in his eyes. Instantly, a dark gray ghost flame wrapped around Zhao Feng's body. The cold aura burned his body and made Zhao Feng feel uneasy. Zhao Feng was wearing the Heaven Luo mystic shirt and his clothes weren't damaged at all. At the same time, his bloodline power was activated and an ice figure appeared behind him. When the light of ice and lightning surrounded his body and the dark gray ghost flame seemed to meet its nemesis and was instantly extinguished. The power of ice directly extinguished the flame. Lightning countered the dark Tao of ghosts. As for mental energy, Zhao Feng once again circulated his lightning fire god's eye and extinguished the burn on his mental energy. His source of mental energy was far stronger than the ghost-eyed man and he was unharmed. Brat! You stole my bloodline's secret technique and not only are you not grateful, you're even biting the hand that feeds you. The ghost-eyed man screamed with all his might, his voice trembled, revealing an obvious fear. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye countered all his secret techniques, including his eye bloodline and movement skills. The lightning fire god's eye copied his ghost eye soul burn and now completely countered the latter. Lightning and fire were the nemesis of the Tao of ghosts and devils. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was even stronger. Eye of Ice Soul. Zhao Feng's left eye turned into a deep blue pond and an invisible power of ice entered his mental energy world. CC. The ghost-eyed man seemed to fall into an ice house and his body started to tremble. The coldness spread from his mental energy world and started to corrode and attack his consciousness. First it was lightning and fire and now it was ice soul. The ghost-eyed man took Zhao Feng's dual sky of ice and fire head-on and his mental energy was on the verge of collapsing and the injury on his mind increased. After being hit by the Eye of Ice Soul, the ghost-eyed man's thoughts became cold and his actions became extremely slow. A person's actions were controlled by their mental energy. When one's thoughts were frozen, they would become sluggish. It was no different from having one's body frozen. Indeed worthy of being one of the 3 eye families. Even after being hit by 2 of my eye bloodline secret techniques, he's only injured and not in any danger to his life. Zhao Feng couldn't help but praise. Zhao Feng's dual sky of ice and fire would kill most early-stage true human ranks. The explosive power of the Eye of Ice Soul wasn't strong, but it could last for a long time. Zhao Feng's left eye locked onto the ghost-eyed man. The latter kept on trembling and the coldness in his actions and expression was obvious. Meow meow. A silver-striped blood whip seemed to come from the other side of the air and wrapped around the ghost-eyed man. Voila! The ghost-eyed man was tied up by the silver-striped blood whip and his blood essence was slowly drained. This was the blood essence of one of the 3 eye families. Don't even think about stealing my true dragon token. The ghost-eyed man's face was almost twisted and his gray eyes flashed with a cold blood color as if he was about to use a stronger secret technique. Paw! The little thieving cat's paw slapped his face and he instantly felt a burning sensation, as if the world was spinning around him. Plop! The ghost-eyed man knelt on the ground and by the time he reacted, the little thieving cat that had stolen his true dragon token had disappeared. And, not bad. Zhao Feng soon obtained a golden true dragon token which was on par with Mo Tianyi's. In the blink of an eye, the dazzling golden dragon luck projection on his body grew by a few feet, increasing its size by a third. Within the barrier of light, the other 5 golden genius providence dragons seemed to sense something and roared in unison. At this point in time, all the geniuses within the dimension could feel the 6 dragon blessing auras. As long as they were within 100 miles, they could see the golden dragon blessing with their naked eyes. This Xiao Feng's dragon blessing has reached the level of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Has he become the 6th overwhelming prodigy of this generation? Both the spectators were shocked. From the current situation, this seemed to be a foregone conclusion. Mo Tianyi had seen Zhao Feng defeat the ghost-eyed man and take the true dragon token from beginning to end. His heart was filled with shock and a heavy feeling. One had to know that the ghost-eyed man was an expert of the first tier like him. Right at this moment. So. Zhao Feng flew towards Mo Tianyi with the wind. That dreamy blue hair was so bright and eye-catching. Not good. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed and even had the thought of running. Chapter 364. Zhao Feng's sudden approach made Mo Tianyi wary, but he didn't dare to attack. In terms of attack speed, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline could definitely hit the target before they attacked. Facing such an opponent, Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man felt immense pressure and their hearts tightened, not daring to be distracted. Zhao Feng. We're all from the northern continent. Do you really have to be enemies with us and the Heavenly Yuan sect? The yellow-faced man threatened, but his vigilant and uneasy expression made his words lack confidence. The Heavenly Yuan sect was one of the 10 great clans of the continent, and if you didn't count the Mystic Ice Palace, it was the strongest force in the northern continent. Even the 3 great countries were inferior to it and respected it. However, Zhao Feng didn't seem to hear his words and slowly closed in without even looking at Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man. Zhao Feng. You're not a true overwhelming prodigy yet. Don't think that I'm easy to bully. Mo Tianyi finally couldn't take it anymore and his chi of true spirit exploded as he thrust out a palm. The air seemed to shake as if an invisible mountain was descending. Yuan Mountain Secret Palm. The orange chi of true spirit lit up everything within 100 yards radius. The bright crystal palm created a scarlet metallic mountain that pressed down on the entire area. The instant the palm was thrust out, the ground nearby inexplicably caved in. Zhao Feng's heart sank as his blood and chi of true spirit were suppressed by an invisible power. Breathing became hard as if he was facing an unshakable mountain. No matter what he did, he would only be humiliating himself. When an ice figure and throne appeared behind Xiao Feng's back. The instant he thrust out his palm, the two powers of ice and lightning intertwined and formed a flower-shaped ice and lightning palm. The moment the flower-shaped palm of ice and thunder collided with the secret heaven palm, it instantly exploded. Lightning, ice, and thunder swept out. Bang bang, one of the ice and lightning palm's power was reflected and headed towards Xiao Feng. Xiao Feng was slightly surprised. His god's spiritual eye had already seen through the mysteries of Mo Tiany's Yuan Mountain secret technique. Therefore, he tried to focus his attacks, but a part of the power was still reflected back. Thankfully, he was already prepared. The three-flowered, treasured lotus bloomed and the Tian Luo mystic robe fluttered even though there was no wind, blocking part of the remaining power. Their palms collided, but neither of them gained the upper hand. This Mo Tiany's great secret art of Yuan Mountain contains the profound of earth and metal. Attacks of the same level can't do anything to him at all. Instead, they will be bounced back. Xiao Feng saw more clues. Unless he could be like Yu Tianhao, possessing an attack like unparalleled under the heavens, that could sweep through everything and produce absolute suppression. In reality, the best way to deal with Mo Tiany was to use his eye bloodline or the water moon god Peach Fan. However, Xiao Feng wasn't here to fight Mo Tiany. Yu Fei. Xiao Feng did not continue forward. He looked at Xiao Yufei. Brother Xiao Feng. Did you come here to look for me? Xiao Yufei smiled sweetly. Xiao Feng's target was Xiao Yufei. So you two know each other. The yellow-faced man let out a long breath and Mo Tiany had an expression of, as expected. Back at the Northern Star stand, Xiao Feng had seen Xiao Yufei but they didn't talk directly. They only had a short conversation in the mental energy level. This included Xin Wuheng, Zhang Yuyue, and Bei Moi. At that time, Xiao Feng had been working hard every second or else he wouldn't be where he was now. Xiao Yufei was slightly curious. Why did Xiao Feng suddenly come to find her? This time, Xiao Feng's hair and left eye had turned blue. Xiao Yufei found that the youth in her memory was colder than before. There's something I need to work with the three of you on. Xiao Feng's gaze then swept over Mo Tiany and the yellow-faced man. Work together. Mo Tiany couldn't help but feel curious. He wasn't familiar with Xiao Feng and had only met him once or twice. The only thing holding them together was Xiao Yufei. And now even Xiao Yufei was curious what Xiao Feng wanted to work with. Logically speaking, Xiao Feng was able to fight against overwhelming prodigies and he shouldn't be scared of anything in the sacred true dragon gathering. Xiao Feng didn't speak and his eyes met with the three. Schwa. The next instant, the four of them entered an elegant room. Mo Tiany, Xiao Yufei, and the yellow-faced man sat on chairs. Opposite them sat Xiao Feng. 1v3 conversation mode. Mo Tiany and company were stunned. They didn't think that Xiao Feng's mental energy communication had reached such a level. This is a simple mental energy illusion. Xiao Feng smiled faintly. After all, he had stepped into the ancient Tao of the soul and had read the Dark Eye incomplete page and had a deeper understanding of mental energy illusions. The scene in front of him was just an illusion on top of mental energy communication. It was still very rough and it was easy to see through the illusions. In this illusion, communication was more realistic and it was hard for outsiders to see through. At the same time, on the stage, the 9 sovereigns also looked at Xiao Feng. Xiao Feng, Mo Tiany and company's states could be guessed at the sovereign's level. This Xiao Feng's dragon blessing is on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The sovereigns placed great importance on this. This was because the final ranking of the sacred true dragon gathering was based on one's true dragon blessing. In terms of dragon blessing, he's indeed on the level of overwhelming prodigies. His only weakness right now is that he's still a line away from the true overwhelming prodigies. The bronze-skinned giant analyzed. The sovereigns nodded their heads in agreement. The reason why Zhao Feng was able to fight against goddess Bing Wei was mainly because he countered the latter. However, even so, Zhao Feng was still being suppressed. If it was any other overwhelming prodigies, Zhao Feng would most likely lose. He has dragon blessing comparable to an overwhelming prodigy, but his strength is slightly lacking. If this continues, will the other overwhelming prodigies let him go? Bai Yu Venerable smiled charmingly. Up until now, Zhao Feng's dragon blessing was the smallest of the 6 and was close to goddess Bing Wei's. However, his growth was too fast and he might not lose to any of the overwhelming prodigies and might even surpass most of them. However, would Zhao Feng, who was in the government, be able to sense this? Within the illusion room, Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi talked for a while, but in reality, it was only a breath's time. Zhao Feng, your tone is too arrogant. You want the 3 core disciples of the Heavenly Yuan clan to protect you? Mo Tianyi said unhappily. I've already said my conditions. I'll double each of your dragon blessing. Apart from that, I'll give you the Mystic Flower Saint liquid to help Yufei break through. If I'm not wrong, Yufei's cultivation is close to the peak true human rank, but her qi of true spirit is extremely pure and several times more than normal people. She has the ability to break through to the true mystic rank. This is obviously a win-win situation. Zhao Feng repeated. His offer wasn't bad, but Mo Tianyi was smart enough to bargain. Mo Tianyi's eyes twinkled. Zhao Feng, from the exchange just then I can see that you're still a bit away from a true overwhelming prodigy. You have such a large amount of dragon blessing and you've offended goddess Bing Wei. Once any 2 overwhelming prodigies team up, you'll be in dire straits. How could Mo Tianyi not see the situation when Zhao Feng asked for protection? Zhao Feng was still lacking a bit. Once he broke through to the true mystic rank he would be close and this would greatly reduce the gap in cultivation. This bit was what Zhao Feng lacked the most. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye controlled the situation and purposely avoided the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Once his dragon blessing aura reached the same level as the overwhelming prodigies he would be able to predict the situation. Zhao Feng. Once you break through to the true mystic rank you'll be the 6th overwhelming prodigy. Who can be sure you won't attack us then? The yellow-faced man was wary. I trust brother Zhao Feng. Zhao Yufei had always trusted Zhao Feng and was willing to cooperate. This way, Mo Tianyi and company wouldn't be able to add any more weight. If I succeed I'll try to take care of your Heavenly Yuan clan. We can even sign a blood contract. Zhao Feng promised. Hearing this both Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were moved. There's no need for a blood contract. I trust Yufei and your character. Mo Tianyi nodded his head. The 2 sides immediately came to an agreement. Mo Tianyi and company would protect Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng would first double their dragon blessing and give the Mystic Flower Saint liquid to Zhao Yufei to increase the Heavenly Yuan clan's strength. Finally, if Zhao Feng succeeded they would have to take care of the Heavenly Yuan clan. Although it seemed like Zhao Feng was at a disadvantage, it was still a strong alliance. After all, Zhao Feng was just a step away from reaching the top 3 or even first place. Next, Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company started to search for true dragon tokens. Because of the god's spiritual eye Zhao Feng could see the entire scene and quickly found his target. However, his dragon blessing was too large and the other geniuses could see him from afar. Therefore, Zhao Feng told Mo Tianyi and company to set up ambushes and the little thieving cat to sneak attacks from the shadows. In less than half a day, Zhao Feng and company successfully ambushed 5 or 6 geniuses including Qin Kunwu of the 1st tier. Mo Tianyi, Zhao Yufei and the yellow-faced man's dragon blessing had doubled. Under Zhao Feng's care, Zhao Yufei's dragon blessing was close to Mo Tianyi's. Zhao Feng didn't absorb any more true dragon tokens and purposely pulled away from the other 5 overwhelming prodigies. It's about time. Let's find a quiet place and you guys protect me. Zhao Feng nodded his head. As for the location, Zhao Feng had already found it and had designed a hidden route that others wouldn't be able to find. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye once again inspected the situation of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. In the northwest direction, Tantai Lanyue and Shiqing Tian, the 2 overwhelming prodigies, teamed up against Yu Tianhao. Their battle caused the heavens and earth to dim and the mountains to collapse and the earth to crack. Goddess Bing Wei hid in the shadows and watched the battle between Yu Tianhao, Tantai Lanyue and Shiqing Tian. As for Taiyun Shuangzi, this pair of brothers had extreme personalities and were cruel and bloodthirsty. This is a good time. Zhao Feng opened his God's spiritual eye and led Mo Tianyi and company into the southeast corner of the river and dove down. Not long later, Zhao Feng dug out a simple cave in the depths of the river. It's indeed hard to find hiding in the depths of the river, but your dragon blessing is still large and once you get close I'll be able to sense you. Mo Tianyi's eyebrows furrowed. Hee, I'll have to rely on brother Mo for this. Zhao Feng's smile seemed to contain a hint of success as he sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. Chapter 365. Within the cave at the bottom of the river, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and Zhao Yufei sat next to him. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were responsible for guarding and monitoring the situation nearby. Meow meow. The little thieving cat gripped the mystic snake blood whip and leaned against its owner, becoming the closest guard. The reason why Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi could work together was because of Zhao Yufei's connection. Of course, Zhao Feng wouldn't completely hand his safety to someone else. The reason why he dared to let Mo Tianyi protect him was because he had something to rely on. I've already passed the biggest root of law to break through to the true mystic rank. All I need to do now is refine the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. I don't need to focus all my attention. Although Zhao Feng was cultivating with his eyes closed, he could still leave a part of his attention in the outside world. Furthermore, there was also the little thieving cat protecting her. Zhao Yufei could be counted as a childhood friend that had grown up together. If Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi were to fight, Zhao Yufei was more likely to protect the former. In the worst-case scenario, Zhao Feng would just fail and there wouldn't be any danger. Therefore, this cooperation was worth a try. Yufei, this is the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid. Zhao Feng handed a small bottle to Zhao Yufei. The Mystic Flower Saint Liquid was a supreme saint liquid formed from the 100 Flower Saint Liquid and 3 other saint liquids. It could help those at the true spirit realm comprehend the root of law and increase the chances of reaching the true mystic rank by 30%. According to the agreement, Zhao Feng would have to pay more than Mo Tianyi and company. It didn't seem worth it. However, the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid ended up in Zhao Yufei's hands and Zhao Feng didn't care anymore. Furthermore, the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid's main use was to increase mental energy senses and comprehend the root of law. It was useless for Zhao Feng. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were both at the true mystic rank and obviously didn't need this liquid. Giving the Mystic Flower Holy Liquid to Zhao Yufei was undoubtedly the best outcome. Brother Zhao Feng, I just happen to have a lightning profound stone here. It's a lightning-type treasure that I obtained when I entered the sect's inheritance last time. Zhao Yufei handed Zhao Feng a purple thunder stone covered with natural patterns. As soon as the lightning stone appeared, a dense surge of lightning yuan qi caused Zhao Feng's qi of true spirit to tremble in excitement. It's actually a lightning profound stone. The conditions for the formation of this stone require an extremely high-quality lightning stone that has to endure the repeated tempering of heaven and earth lightning. Over time, it will absorb a large amount of lightning essence and even contain a certain amount of profound mysteries of lightning. Zhao Feng was overjoyed to obtain the stone. In terms of value, the lightning profound stone that Zhao Yufei had given him was not inferior to the profound flower holy liquid. This scene fell into Mo Tianyi's eyes. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei's intimate relationship made him feel complicated. In the world of sects, even martial brothers would scheme against each other, and it wasn't rare for them to kill each other. Mo Tianyi was used to being alone. On the other hand, there were no schemes between Xiao Feng and Xiao Yufei. After all, they had grown up together. Last time, there was a martial uncle in the sect who proposed to junior sister Yufei to trade lightning profound stones. I remember sister Yufei said that the lightning profound stone had already been traded. I didn't think she would still have it. The yellow-faced man's eyes twinkled as he tried to guess the relationship between Xiao Feng and Xiao Yufei. Could it be that the two of them were blood-related siblings? The cave at the bottom of the river fell into silence. Xiao Feng held the lightning profound stone, and wisps of pure essence of lightning were absorbed into his body and refined by his true spirit lightning flame. Originally, Xiao Feng was worried that his source of true spirit from the lightning inheritance would be assimilated by the water moon pirate source of true spirit. Now that he had this lightning profound stone, the situation was much better. What made Xiao Feng overjoyed was that the laws of lightning contained within the lightning profound stone were closer to nature and purer than his own lightning inheritance. The laws of lightning contained within the lightning profound stone further supplemented Xiao Feng's comprehension of lightning. In his mind, the second floor of the pavilion represented by the lightning inheritance was completely bright and translucent. The third floor had faint traces of light. Unknowingly, Xiao Feng had reached the peak of the second floor of the lightning inheritance. According to the description of the lightning inheritance, one needed to be at the true lord rank to comprehend the third floor. Qio. Arcs of azure lightning would occasionally appear around Xiao Feng, as if they had a mind of their own. However, they didn't affect the little thieving cat. Time passed slowly. Xiao Feng continued to absorb the essence of the lightning profound stone, and at the same time, he also refined the water moon pirate source of true spirit. This meant that Xiao Feng's source of true spirit was dominated by lightning. On the other side, after obtaining the mystic flower saint liquid, Xiao Yufei could clearly sense the laws of the heaven-earth yuan qi. Xiao Yufei's situation was the opposite of Xiao Feng's. Xiao Feng's mental energy level surpassed his cultivation, but his qi of true spirit wasn't high enough. On the other hand, Xiao Yufei's bloodline had awakened, and her compatibility with the heaven-earth yuan qi was extremely high. Her qi of true spirit was extremely pure, and her body could even merge with the heaven-earth yuan qi. Her qi of true spirit was several times that of a normal person. This meant that as long as her mental energy level was high enough, Xiao Yufei could rapidly increase her cultivation. Xiao Feng's God's spiritual eye could see all of this. One had to say that Xiao Feng and Xiao Yufei complemented each other perfectly. Xiao Feng suddenly remembered the yin and yang complement technique in the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible. If it could be done, Xiao Feng's mental energy level could complement Xiao Yufei, and Xiao Yufei's pure qi of true spirit could complement Xiao Feng. However, this thought flashed through Xiao Feng's mind, and he didn't consider it. Just as the Water Moon Pirate had said, although the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible was powerful, it wasn't the king's path. While Xiao Feng and Xiao Yufei were in seclusion, Mo Tianyi and the other person were protecting them. Occasionally, some geniuses would accidentally come near, and Mo Tianyi and the other person would take action and chase them away. Xiao Feng's dragon blessing was extremely large, and it was easy to sense if one got too close. With Mo Tianyi and the other person's strength and dragon blessing, normal geniuses would quickly retreat when they got close. As long as they didn't meet an overwhelming prodigy, Mo Tianyi and the other person didn't need to fear anything. The only thing Mo Tianyi was worried about was what if other, overwhelming prodigies came. As long as the 5 overwhelming prodigies didn't meet each other, they were invincible. Under normal situations, even Mo Tianyi would retreat if he met an overwhelming prodigy. But now, he had to protect Xiao Feng. Even if he didn't think for Xiao Feng, there was still his junior sister who was also a disciple of a sovereign, and he couldn't ignore her. This Xiao Feng really knows how to scheme and drag junior sister Yufei down with him. Mo Tianyi knew he had no way out. Xiao Feng was on the same side as the Heavenly Yuan clan. On the second day of Xiao Feng's seclusion, a peak first-tier genius appeared near the river zone. If it was a normal first-tier genius such as Qin Kunwu or Xia Xianshang, Mo Tianyi would be able to deal with them. However, this first-tier genius wasn't a normal genius but the successor of the Tuoba family, Tuoba Qi. Tuoba Qi's fame in the sacred True Dragon Gathering was even greater than Mo Tianyi's. In the air above the river zone, Mo Tianyi and the other person faced off against the successor of the Tuoba family. Tuoba Qi snickered coldly and didn't fear the two true mystic ranks. Once his heavenly piercing eye was activated, an invisible blade could instantly cut through the target, making it almost impossible to dodge. At this point in time, the atmosphere was tense. The people outside were also interested and looked forward to what would happen next. The spectating stands and sovereigns obviously knew that Mo Tianyi was protecting Zhao Feng. Wen Hu. Right at this moment, a powerful aura came from the river and the figure of a golden dragon faintly appeared. Tuoba Qi felt a chill in his heart. He felt as if a pair of cold eyes were locked onto him. When Tuoba Qi looked at the image of the golden luck dragon again, he had a guess. His expression changed and turned grave. Shua. Tuoba Qi turned and left without hesitation. He didn't have any confidence facing the sixth strongest dragon blessing expert who also had a powerful eye bloodline. Furthermore, there was still Mo Tianyi and the other person. Tuoba Qi had obviously seen the battle between Zhao Feng and goddess Bing Wei. He also knew that the ghost-eyed man had been defeated by Zhao Feng. It was because of this that he was wary and decided to leave. Mo Tianyi and the other person let out a breath. Tuoba Qi's heavenly piercing eye was extremely terrifying and hard to defend against. Before, there was even an expert from the first tier who had been defeated by Tuoba Qi in one glance. Mo Tianyi was also worried facing Tuoba Qi. The sixth strongest dragon blessing expert is the strongest. The yellow-faced man couldn't help but sigh as he looked down. Zhao Feng returned to the cave and continued to cultivate. Because he had formed his root of law early, Zhao Feng's process of breaking through to the true mystic rank was relatively simple. He only needed to refine his qi of true spirit and could retreat at any time. Once a peak genius came close and refused to retreat, Zhao Feng would appear and release a bit of his aura. Apart from the 5 overwhelming prodigies, no one dared to fight against Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company. Time soon arrived on the third day. Zhao Feng's source of true spirit had expanded and his cultivation had reached the peak true human rank. Just a bit more and Zhao Feng would be able to break through to the true mystic rank. This guy's cultivation speed is too fast. Mo Tianyi clucked his tongue. He originally thought that Zhao Feng would need 10 days to half a month to break through to the true mystic rank, but now it seemed that he could succeed in 4 to 5 days. It's the last day. Guard it well. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and put more energy into cultivation. In reality, many geniuses knew that Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company were here and this was a forbidden area. There were very few people who came close to the river zone. However, on this day, a powerful aura suddenly appeared in front of them. From far away, they could see the image of a golden luck dragon. It was 6 meters tall. Not good. An overwhelming prodigy is coming. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed and immediately notified Zhao Feng. Overwhelming prodigy. Could it be goddess Bing Wei? Zhao Feng's expression dimmed. He opened his god's spiritual eye and inspected the situation. In the distant sky, a large bird with colorful wings carried a beautiful girl in a colorful dress. She held a 5-colored glass whip in her hand, and her eyes were pure without any impurities. Her eyes were bright and clear, and there was a ripple in them that was as clear as water. Overwhelming prodigy. Tan Tai Lan Yue. Mo Tianyi and company exclaimed. Chapter 366. The newcomer was Tan Tai Lan Yue, the most special of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Tantai Lanue was wearing a colorful dress that reached her knees, revealing half of her snow-white legs. She looked delicate and charming, like the girl next door. In terms of cultivation, Tantan Lanue was the lowest of the 5 overwhelming prodigies at the early stages of the true mystic rank, on par with Mo Tianyi. But at this moment, Mo Tianyi's heart went numb and his expression was solemn. The opponent was a beast tamer and their biggest reliance wasn't on themselves but their spiritual pets. For example, the rainbow-winged bird under Tantan Lanue's feet had battle power comparable to the peak true mystic rank. She had a total of 2 spiritual pets like this. The scariest thing was that Tantan Lanue had a trump card called the Horned Earth Dragon Beast. It had a powerful bloodline and its battle power was comparable to the true Lord rank. Apart from that, Tantan Lanue had more than a dozen rare spiritual pets that could deal with any situation. Furthermore, the number 1 genius of the Beast Tamer family, Tantan Lanue's mental energy source was extremely strong and was said to be close to the true Lord rank. Seeing Tantan Lanue's rainbow-winged bird approach. That was a beast comparable to the peak true mystic rank and its powerful aura pressured Mo Tianyi and Mo Tianyi. So, Tantan Lanue's flying speed was extremely fast and her eyes soon locked onto Mo Tianyi and Mo Tianyi with furrowed eyebrows. At the same time, a large amount of true dragon providence appeared in the river that was almost on par with Tantan Lanue's. In the cave at the bottom of the river, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye locked onto Tantan Lanue. This girl's mental energy source is so strong and her use of mental energy is exquisite. Zhao Feng felt troubled. This way, Tantan Lanue would have a strong resistance against Zhao Feng's eye bloodline secret technique and would be a level higher than goddess Bing Wei. This girl could be Zhao Feng's nemesis. Zhao Feng didn't purposely hide his aura and his god's spiritual eye locked onto Tantan Lanue as a warning. If Tantan Lanue was obviously hostile, Zhao Feng could only come out of seclusion and team up with Mo Tianyi and company to fight against the overwhelming prodigies. You are that Zhao Feng. I advise you not to waste your energy. Your eye bloodline technique focuses on the mental aspect. It has no effect on me. Tantan Lanue's divine sense was extremely powerful, one of the best among the 5 peerless geniuses. She soon located Zhao Feng's location. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged without moving, but he did not deny it either. His eye bloodline did indeed focus on mental energy, so meeting Tantai Lanue gave him a headache. What, are you scared? Tantan Lanue faintly smiled. She waved the 5-colored glass whip in her hand, and with a loud bang, a half-mile-long crack appeared in the river below. Waves of colorful waves rushed toward the water cave where Zhao Feng was. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. Tantan Lanue's actions were completely provocative. Lightning Fire God Eye. The azure lightning flame in Zhao Feng's left eye flashed. Whoosh! A translucent thunder flame suddenly appeared on the colorful winged bird under Tantan Lanue's feet. Instantly, the colorful winged bird let out a sharp screech that could be heard from dozens of miles away. The power of lightning and fire connected the physical and mental energy dimensions. Although the colorful winged bird wasn't heavily injured, it was in extreme pain. It lost control and threw its owner, Tantan Lanue, away. You dare to hurt my little bird? Tantan Lanue screamed and flipped through the air before stabilizing herself in the wind. Her hair was in a mess and she seemed to be in a ruffled state. Bo! Another sharp mental energy sound wave, accompanied by lightning, stabbed toward the colorful winged bird, causing it to go even crazier and Tantan Lanue to panic. My eye bloodline technique might not have much effect on you with your strong mental energy source, but I'm half a beast tamer. I have all kinds of methods to make your spiritual pets lose control and injure them. Zhao Feng's wicked smile spread through the mental energy dimension. Being a beast tamer, Tantan Lanue cherished every spiritual pet. A few days ago, she had a great battle with Yu Tianhao. Several of her powerful pets were badly injured. She was heartbroken. She didn't want to meet another troublesome person who was targeting her spiritual pets. Tan Lanue gritted her teeth and hesitated whether or not to summon the horned earth dragon beast. But at the same time, the scene of Zhao Feng and goddess Bing Wei's battle appeared in her mind. Zhao Feng had too many methods and his defense was strong. If she didn't have absolute confidence in taking care of him, it was the same as offending an overwhelming prodigy. Just as Tan Lanue was hesitating, another surge of dragon providence appeared in front of her. This one was even stronger than Tan Lanue and Zhao Feng's. From far away, one could see a golden dragon providence in the sky. Looking closely, everyone jumped up in fright. The newcomer was a black-haired youth with eyes as deep as the stars. That young man's every move seemed to be filled with indescribable strength and confidence, as well as a desolate feeling of being proud of the world. "You've caught up so quickly." Tan Lanue's expression changed. "So." She didn't even turn her head as she flew away on her rainbow-winged bird. In the entire sacred true dragon gathering, there was only one existence that could chase after Tan Lanue. Yu Tianhao. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced youth both took a cold breath. The black-haired youth was Yu Tianhao, the #1 genius of the continent and an overwhelming prodigy of dozens of generations. Although Yu Tianhao's steps seemed slow, his speed was shockingly fast as he closed in. Tan Lanue had no thoughts of fighting. Thinking about the battle a few days ago, Tan Lanue's heart jumped. That Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac. He fought against Tan Lanue and Shi Qingtian, two overwhelming prodigies, and he was not at a disadvantage at all. After that battle, several of Tan Lanue's spiritual pets were injured and even the horned earth dragon beast was injured. Shi Qingtian, whose forte was defense, also returned covered in wounds. If it wasn't for Shi Qingtian attracting more of Yu Tianhao's firepower, Tan Lanue's losses would be even greater. Therefore, Tan Lanue instinctively ran when she saw Yu Tianhao. Furthermore, there was Zhao Feng nearby who was a quasi-overwhelming prodigy. Before Mo Tianyi and company could let out a breath after Tan Lanue retreated, an even more terrifying existence appeared. Yu Tianhao. These 3 words were enough to make the sacred true dragon gathering tremble and make other geniuses look up to him in fear. Other overwhelming prodigies were wary and would retreat if they met him. So. Yu Tianhao appeared in the air above Mo Tianyi in a few steps. "She runs pretty fast," Yu Tianhao murmured to himself. In terms of flying speed, he didn't have much of an advantage over Tan Lanue. If she wanted to run, he wouldn't be able to catch her even though they were both overwhelming prodigies. Yu Tianhao stood above the river and sent off Tan Lanue with his eyes. Suddenly, his eyes scanned the depths of the river. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man had retreated into the cave. At this moment when Yu Tianhao's eyes scanned over, an invisible aura similar to that of a true lord rank descended. Both Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng felt it hard to breathe and their qi of true spirit was restricted. If Zhao Feng guessed correctly, Yu Tianhao's cultivation was at the peak true mystic rank and his mental energy level was at the true lord rank. 6th in the dragon blessing, do you dare to fight? Yu Tianhao didn't attack immediately and a smile appeared on his face. A surge of battle intent and confidence was released. Zhao Feng's heart dropped slightly. He didn't think that Yu Tianhao would notice him and even challenge him. On the side, Mo Tianyi's emotions were complex. Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac through and through, but he rarely issued challenges to others, especially to the new generation. However, Zhao Feng had entered Yu Tianhao's eyes and was considered an opponent. To be considered an opponent by the continent's #1 genius was an honor. At least in the 2 sacred true dragon gatherings that Mo Tianyi had participated in, Yu Tianhao didn't even pay attention to him and easily defeated him. Facing Yu Tianhao's challenge, Zhao Feng was silent. In his mind, he recalled Yu Tianhao's unparalleled palm strength in the ancient arena, his unparalleled attacks like the way of the sword, as well as his strong confidence and willpower that looked down on the world. This strong will was stronger than any sword intent or blade intent that Zhao Feng had ever seen. Just this martial path intent alone could instantly shatter Tian Yunji's blade intent, destroy Zhang Yuyue's sword intent and scare away the gods and ghosts. At this moment, Yu Tianhao stood proudly in the sky above the river bank. His domineering battle intent and unparalleled confidence were enough to crush his opponent's faith. The hearts of Mo Tianyi, the yellow-faced man and Zhao Yufei shook. It was as if there was an invincible demon god standing above their heads. Their heartbeat was extremely clear at this moment. Yu Tianhao stood there and didn't move as he waited silently. He stared at where Zhao Feng was and his eyes radiated an invisible will and battle intent. The reason he didn't attack immediately was out of respect. Yu Tianhao felt an indescribable sense of respect for that youth, who was 10 years younger than him, who was unyielding, calm, and resolute on the northern region arena, and who turned the situation around like a god at the end. Mo Tianyi and company all felt this mentality. If it was any other opponent or even an overwhelming prodigy, Yu Tianhao would have slapped them without hesitation. From this one could see how important Zhao Feng was to Yu Tianhao. Indeed worthy of being the continent's #1 genius. I'm not your match yet. However, I can recommend an opponent for you. Zhao Feng finally spoke. The god's spiritual eye's powerful source of mental energy allowed Zhao Feng to face Yu Tianhao's battle intent without wavering. This made Yu Tianhao's evaluation of him rise. Recommend an opponent? Not only was Yu Tianhao surprised, even Mo Tianyi and company were surprised. Apart from the overwhelming prodigies, who else could fight Yu Tianhao in the sacred True Dragon Gathering? Go find a person called Xin Wuheng. In the past, he fought to a draw with me while suppressing his cultivation. He's in this dimension. A weird smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. He was at the crucial moment of breaking through to the true mystic rank, and whether or not he wanted to fight now wasn't the best time. However, Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac and wasn't so easy to deal with. Thus, Zhao Feng suddenly had an idea and thought of a plan to shift the blame to someone else. Yu Tianhao, didn't you want to fight me? Fine, I don't have time right now, so I'll recommend you an opponent of the same level or even stronger. Coincidentally, Xin Wuheng was also someone that Zhao Feng couldn't see through. He would let the continent's #1 genius, Yu Tianhao, test him out. Okay. Yu Tianhao nodded his head and agreed. He seemed to be interested in the Xin Wuheng that Zhao Feng mentioned. Maybe he saw that Zhao Feng was trying to break through and didn't stay any longer. Chapter 367. In the cave at the bottom of the river. Sending Yu Tianhao off with their eyes, Mo Tianyi and company were puzzled. Only half of the stone in their hearts had been lifted. The yellow-faced man laughed, diverting the trouble to someone else. That's a smart move. But when Yu Tianhao finds Xin Wuheng and finds that the latter isn't his opponent, what will his reaction be? Zhao Feng, are you sure Xin Wuheng can divert Yu Tianhao's attention? Mo Tianyi's face was full of doubt. The two were slightly worried. Mo Tianyi knew Xin Wuheng's strength. The two had fought before and Xin Wuheng had even lost to Mo Tianyi. He admitted that Xin Wuheng had some skill, but if he wanted to fight an overwhelming prodigy, he was probably 1 or 2 levels away. This Xin Wuheng has always been unfathomable and I wanted to test him. But this time, his opponent is the #1 genius of the continent. I hope he can bring us some surprises. Zhao Feng said uncertainly. Zhao Feng wasn't sure if Xin Wuheng could block Yu Tianhao or not at all. After all, Yu Tianhao was an overwhelming prodigy of dozens of generations and had surpassed the Scarlet Moon religion patriarch and sword saint Yi Wuxie. Calling Yu Tianhao the #1 genius in history wasn't an exaggeration. However, Zhao Feng did this based on instinct. There were many unsolved mysteries in his life. For example, the origin of the god's spiritual eye. What kind of existence was the owner of the god's spiritual eye? For example, the 100 graves, forbidden ground. What was the meaning of the curse placed on the graves of hundreds of experts? Or the ancient arena, which was connected to the continent's history and inheritances? These were all mysteries. In Zhao Feng's heart, Xian Wuheng was also an unsolved mystery. During the Genius Summit of Sun Feather City, Xian Wuheng had already displayed the concept of intent. At that time, everyone was still at the consolidated realm. At last, Xian Wuheng suppressed his cultivation by 1 rank and was ranked first with Zhao Feng, then disappeared. After Yu Tianhao left, Zhao Feng used the time and tried to break through to the true mystic rank. In reality, there was no bottleneck to the true mystic rank. All he needed was a bit of time. Within his dantian, wisps of lightning attributed chi of true spirit swam around and refined his body, merging with his essence, aura, and soul. Zhao Feng's chi of true spirit had a wicked aura apart from the destructive element of lightning that came from the mystic flower treasured Bible. In order to make the lightning inheritance the dominant one, Zhao Feng tried his best to absorb every bit of power from the lightning profound rock and comprehend the natural and original profound meaning of lightning. Not only did Zhao Feng's true power increase, his comprehension of concepts also increased by leaps and bounds. Woo woo. An azure true spiritual lightning flame jumped in Zhao Feng's dantian as it refined the chi of true spirit in his body. With the strengthening of the source of true spirit, the power and quality of the true spirit lightning flame would also rise. A portion of Zhao Feng's lightning fire God's eyes power came from the true spirit lightning fire. Therefore, when he was about to break through to the next realm, he purposely trained and refined the true spiritual lightning flame in his body. Time passed by slowly. On the last day, at the last moment, Zhao Feng's true spirit aura started to condense and the aura it gave off became more profound. Mo Tianyi and company who were responsible for guarding had complex expressions. Zhao Feng's improvement in just a few days was equivalent to several years or even 10 years of hard work for a peak genius. Mo Tianyi was sure that Zhao Feng had some sort of fortune. At least the source of true spirit within his body that surpassed the early stages of the true mystic rank was hard to explain. On the other side, Zhao Yufei had been comprehending with her eyes closed and after using the mystic flower saint liquid, she gave off a dense mental energy aura. The mystic flower saint liquid could greatly stimulate mental energy senses and help her comprehend the heaven and earth, forming a root of law. Gradually, a faint fluctuation of the root of profound appeared on Zhao Yufei's body. Junior sister Yufei has already condensed the embryonic form of a root of profound. Mo Tianyi's heart jumped. As time passed, the fluctuation of the root of profound on Zhao Yufei's body gradually grew stronger. Zhao Feng felt an unusual aura. The nearby heaven-earth yuan qi was dozens of times more active than normal. The primal qi of heaven and earth became abnormally friendly as it approached Zhao Yufei. Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and observed. In the air, countless particles of heaven and earth yuan qi were approaching Zhao Yufei from all directions in a lively and friendly manner. Zhao Yufei was like a strong iron magnet, inexplicably attracting the heaven-earth essence qi. Yufei's bloodline physique's compatibility with the yuan qi of the universe is astounding. After forming the root of profundity, she understands the mysteries of the universe. This compatibility seems to have increased tenfold. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye couldn't help but sigh. Not only that, he found that Zhao Yufei's body could absorb and merge with the pure true spirit yuan qi. Her skin was pure white and sparkling like jade. It was as if she was half true spirit. This was simply unimaginable. Along the way, even Zhao Feng had benefited quite a bit. While he was cultivating, his root of law could easily absorb the power of heaven-earth lightning. Zhao Feng seemed to be sitting next to a magnet that attracted the heaven-earth yuan qi and the benefits were unimaginable. It seems that my advancement speed can be doubled. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. This time, Zhao Yufei was like his lucky star. First, She brought the lightning mystic stone and then attracted so much heaven-earth yuan qi. Above the river where the two of them were cultivating, the qi of heaven and earth was active and throbbing. From time to time, lightning and thunder would flash and produce all kinds of colorful lights. Luckily, most of the geniuses treated this area as a forbidden area and didn't dare come close. Many people knew that the sixth dragon blessing Zhao Feng was here, and there was also Mo Tianyi of the first tier. Without the battle power of an overwhelming prodigy, no one dared to offend them. The other overwhelming prodigies also knew about the situation here. Yu Tianhao and Tan Tan Lanyue even passed by but didn't fight. On a mountain to the west of the river, Goddess Bing Wei's eyes were cold as she looked towards the river where Zhao Feng was with hatred and unwillingness. Zhao Feng, so you've been hiding here cultivating. It looks like your true cultivation hasn't reached the true mystic rank and is still half a level away from an overwhelming prodigy. A coldness appeared on Goddess Bing Wei's face. Shua! Goddess Bing Wei's figure flashed and disappeared from the mountain. She didn't fly towards the river where Zhao Feng was, but in the opposite direction. This Xiao Feng's bloodline power counters mine and his defense is strong. I alone can't do anything to him. Goddess Bing Wei wasn't blinded by hatred. Even if she went over now, facing Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company teaming up, she wouldn't be able to gain any advantage. Therefore, Goddess Bing Wei soon thought of a plan. Find helpers. As long as she found another overwhelming prodigy that wasn't countered by Zhao Feng, their chances of winning would increase greatly. Apart from her, there was also Yu Tianhao, Taiyun Shuangzi, Tan Tan Lanyue and Shiqing Tian. First, Goddess Bing Wei eliminated Yu Tianhao from the first one. Yu Tianhao's personality was prideful and disdained teaming up against someone, especially someone below the overwhelming prodigy rank. In the entire sacred true dragon gathering, there was no one that Yu Tianhao needed to team up against. Next was Taiyun Shuangzi. Taiyun Shuangzi is strong but cruel and cunning. It'll be difficult to work with him, but it's worth a try. Goddess Bing Wei's eyes twinkled. Then there was Tan Tan Lanyue and Shiqing Tian. Goddess Bing Wei once again eliminated Tan Tan Lanyue. Previously, Tan Tan Lanyue and Shiqing Tian teamed up to fight Yu Tianhao but didn't get the upper hand at all and instead suffered heavy losses. Goddess Bing Wei sneak attacked Tan Tan Lanyue and had a hard battle. Because of this, Tan Tan Lanyue's losses increased and she hated Goddess Bing Wei. This way, the only people she could choose to work with were Taiyun Shuangzi and Shiqing Tian. Taiyun Shuangzi, twin brothers, they have twice the strength of others of the same level. Shiqing Tian, he has the Stone Heart bloodline, his defense is extremely strong and he once took Yu Tianhao's attack head-on. He also has the gravity talent. Goddess Bing Wei had an idea to find these two overwhelming prodigies. In the light barrier, the auras of the overwhelming prodigies were extremely obvious. Not long after, Goddess Bing Wei found the bloodthirsty Taiyun Shuangzi. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Taiyun Shuangzi's dragon blessing was just below Yu Tianhao's. Zhe, Ice Beauty, what do you need from us brothers? Taiyun Shuangzi had 2 heads and 4 eyes that controlled the sword and blade respectively like a monster of slaughter. One of the heads still had some flesh and blood at the corner of its mouth and it licked its lips. Taiyun Shuangzi's eyes were filled with greed and lust as they scanned Goddess Bing Wei's body, especially her chest and thighs. Goddess Bing Wei's eyebrows furrowed in obvious disgust. If it was anyone else, she would have used an extreme northern mystic ice wind to leave an ice stick. But Taiyun Shuangzi was an overwhelming prodigy on the same level as her and had the strength to challenge Yu Tianhao. River Cave. Wang Xiaofeng's body was surrounded by a layer of azure lightning that released a faint glow. This lightning seemed to have an incredible intelligence and was ever-changing, sometimes turning into spiderwebs, other times into sharp swords, whips etc. A azure lightning mystic flower symbol appeared on Xiaofeng's forehead and was completely different to the original lightning inheritance symbol. His aura was no longer the destructive power of lightning. Instead, there was a sense of spirituality that was more compatible with nature. Inside his dantian was a deep azure source of true spirit. Whether it was in terms of purity or capacity, it was twice as pure as before. Crack! The lightning mystic stone in Zhao Feng's hand exploded into a pile of dust. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man, who were guarding the entrance, let out a sigh of relief with complex expressions. At this moment, Zhao Feng, from inside to outside, felt like he was a brand new person. His gaze was as deep as lightning. His elegant blue hair was like a dream in the water, and the azure lightning flower mark between his eyebrows added a mysterious and evil charm to it. From a glance, he seemed to be a lord of the wicked path, confident and devilish. Zhao Feng, your speed of advancement is faster than I imagined. But you've just reached the true mystic rank, shouldn't you consolidate it? Mo Tianyi saw Zhao Feng stand up and couldn't help but ask. Chapter 368. There's no time. Prepare to fight. Zhao Feng stood up and his eyes were like lightning as he stared coldly towards the west. Mo Tianyi and the yellow man's expressions changed dramatically. What kind of opponent forced Zhao Feng to come out of seclusion before he could even consolidate his cultivation? Shua! Leaving behind a ghostly afterimage, Zhao Feng's figure disappeared. So fast. The yellow-faced man's mouth was wide open and he couldn't even react. This movement skill is weird and seems to be able to fool people's mental energy senses. Mo Tianyi barely caught a blurry figure and saw some clues. So. Mo Tianyi reacted and immediately chased with the yellow-faced man following closely behind. At this time, Zhao Feng had already flown above the river zone and stared coldly at the forest to the west. After a while, the faint figure of a golden dragon blessing appeared in the air above the forest. To be able to sense the dragon blessing from so far away, he's probably an overwhelming prodigy. Mo Tianyi's heart dropped, but thinking about the quasi-overwhelming prodigy next to him, he couldn't help but feel hopeful. Zhao Feng stood silently in the air with a solemn expression. When the aura of the dragon blessing became stronger. The illusory aura of the golden dragons of fortune. No, there were two of them. Not good, there's two overwhelming prodigies. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed dramatically. It was no wonder that the usually calm Zhao Feng was so solemn and solemn. Run! The same thought flashed through Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's mind. One overwhelming prodigy was scary enough, but now there were two of them. How was he supposed to fight them? You guys go back first and protect Yufei. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed and he took a deep breath. If it was under normal circumstances, he would retreat without hesitation if two overwhelming prodigies appeared. However, at this moment, Zhao Yufei was at the crucial moment of breaking through to the true mystic rank. Therefore, Zhao Feng decided to stall for time. If she really couldn't drag it out, then Zhao Yufei could only temporarily lose the chance to advance to the true mystic rank. In any case, she had already condensed the embryonic form of a root of profound, so advancing was only a matter of time. Moreover, Zhao Feng had just come out of seclusion and wanted to feel the progress of his strength. You have to be careful by yourself. If you really can't do it, then I'll have to trouble junior sister Yufei. Mo Tianyi stared deeply at Zhao Feng before retreating with the yellow-faced man. Putting himself in their shoes, if he were to face two peerless prodigies at the same time, he would definitely retreat without hesitation. Zhao Feng floated in the air above the river zone. His face was solemn and his eyes were cold. Gradually, they turned cold. Pong! His silhouette flickered as he approached the two heavens' favorites in a ghostly and unpredictable manner. Rather than passively defending, it was better to take the initiative to attack. The reason why Zhao Feng did this was because he did not want the battle to affect Zhao Yufei's seclusion. In the wild forest of the hills, on a large tree with luxuriant leaves. That brat seems to have found us. a bronze-like giant said in a low voice. When he spoke, the ground seemed to tremble and the tree he was on started to creak as if it was going to break at any moment. Shi Qingtian, as long as you and I work together, even Yu Tianhao will lose. Goddess Bing Wei revealed a cold smile. According to the original plan, Goddess Bing Wei first went to find Taiyun Shuangzi to work together, but this cruel conjoined people were too arrogant and disdainful and almost started fighting. After that, she went to find the more honest Shi Qingtian. At the start, Shi Qingtian was also unwilling and felt that two overwhelming prodigies teaming up against a black horse was a loss of face. Goddess Bing Wei's lips were almost dry as she tried to persuade him. She even promised that if they succeeded, Zhao Feng's dragon blessing would all go to Shi Qingtian. Finally, Shi Qingtian was moved and finally agreed. After all, once Zhao Feng's dragon blessing was taken away, any overwhelming prodigy would have a chance to come first. Therefore, the scene in front of them appeared. Goddess Bing Wei and Shi Qingtian teamed up and secretly approached Zhao Feng. According to the plan, once they got close, the two of them would work together to launch a lightning-fast attack that would kill Zhao Feng and leave him no path of retreat. However, before the two even got close, they were discovered by Zhao Feng. Shi Qingtian's face went faintly red. If other people knew that two overwhelming prodigies teamed up against a new person and even tried to ambush him, how would they have any face left? Right at this time, a burst of laughter sounded. Good, good, good. Two overwhelming prodigies, come at me together. The laughter shook heaven and earth and spread for dozens of miles. This brat was arrogant. The two overwhelming prodigies paused. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, apart from Yu Tianhao, no one had ever fought one against two. Zhao Feng's tone was full of disdain towards the two. What was more subtle was, Zhao Feng's voice was very loud and spread for dozens of miles. Many geniuses heard the news and came over. This brat's so cunning. Goddess Bing Wei sensed something. Indeed, Shi Qingtian's face went red as he roared angrily, I, Shi Qingtian, am enough to deal with a brat like you. He had no enmity with Zhao Feng and couldn't lower his face to team up against a new black horse, even the number 1 black horse. Don't fall for it. Goddess Bing Wei panicked. Goddess Bing Wei, don't worry. My bloodline and cultivation method can definitely counter him. Don't interfere, just stop this brat from running away. Shi Qingtian said in a low voice and warned Goddess Bing Wei not to interfere. In front of everyone, even if Shi Qingtian knew that Zhao Feng was trying to provoke him, he had to accept it. This was Zhao Feng's plan, or rather, an overt plot. The goal was to stall for time for Zhao Yufei. Fine. Goddess Bing Wei nodded her head helplessly. Thinking about it, Shi Qingtian's cultivation method at least wouldn't be countered by Zhao Feng and should be able to win. The worst result would be both sides being heavily injured and Goddess Bing Wei would be able to reap the benefits. In the air above the river, Shi Qingtian was like a small giant and his body seemed to be made of metal. His height was more than half that of a normal person. Wherever he passed, an indescribable heavy pressure would come from the surroundings. Dong! Dong! With every step he took, a huge pressure surged forth, like a huge mountain. Zhao Feng, who was far away, felt his body become heavy and his blood and qi of true spirit were blocked. Shi Qingtian, the only overwhelming prodigy that trains in the body. Just his body alone can suppress the late stages of the true mystic rank. He has the rare stone heart bloodline and his defense is extremely strong. Zhao Feng murmured in his heart. In the first round he had seen every overwhelming prodigy's battle style. This Shi Qingtian's power and body was definitely the strongest of the sacred true dragon-gathering geniuses. That invisible, heavy pressure came from Shi Qingtian's body. When one's body was trained to a certain level, the body itself could release an invisible power that could suppress beings to death. Those under the true mystic rank probably couldn't even move in front of Shi Qingtian and might even spit out blood. Between the river, Zhao Feng and Shi Qingtian didn't give way to each other and quickly closed in on each other. 10 miles. 9 miles. 7 miles. The distance between the two was slowly closing. Up until 3 miles. Shi Qingtian stomped heavily on the ground and with a boom, a hole several yards wide was left on the ground. He was like a heavy yellow stone cannonball that charged towards Zhao Feng. Whoosh, a mountain-like pressure surged over from the surroundings. Even a great hall made of iron and stone would collapse in an instant. Shi Qingtian's explosive speed had reached a shocking level and was close to the limits of the true mystic rank. In an instant Shi Qingtian was within a mile radius and suddenly attacked. Roar! The giant man, who looked like he was carrying the world on his shoulders, let out a soul-shaking roar, and a terrifying shockwave swept across a radius of 1 to 2 miles. Whoosh, a forest and a hill beneath them fell to the ground. Zhao Feng circulated his qi of true spirit to protect his vitals. Even so, he was pushed back several yards by a large wave and his eardrums hurt and he almost spat out blood. Shi Qingtian's body was extremely strong and his qi of true spirit was dominating. That roar alone was enough to make most geniuses surrender. Lightning and lightning. Zhao Feng's expression went cold as he swiped at the air with one hand and the lightning yuan qi above his head started to roar. Qio! An azure lightning as thick as an arm flashed with a faint purple light as it slashed across the sky and landed heavily on Shi Qingtian's body. In an instant, everything within a radius of several hundred feet was scorched, and the trees were set ablaze. The lightning was an attack that Zhao Feng had comprehended after his root of law had stabilized and fused the lightning inheritance and the lightning intent within the lightning mystic stone. This kind of attack used the power of the heaven-earth lightning and had high requirements for the root of law as well as the comprehension of lightning and lightning. This brat's strength has risen so quickly. Goddess Bing Wei watching from afar was slightly surprised. The power and damage of that lightning just now was almost at the level of an overwhelming prodigy's attack. More importantly, Zhao Feng didn't use his bloodline power or the god's spiritual eye. Of course. Goddess Bing Wei wasn't worried. Shi Qingtian's defense was the same as her and amongst the 5 overwhelming prodigies, he was one of the best and stronger than the other overwhelming prodigies. Boom, lightning exploded but Shi Qingtian's figure didn't move. His entire body had a hard, brownish-yellow shell, like that of a stone. There was only a tiny, barely noticeable black mark left on his skin. A layer of crystal yellow light flowed down, and it showed signs of gradually healing. What powerful defense! This Shi Qingtian has an earth attribute bloodline and doesn't need to work hard to comprehend the root of law. Even if Zhao Feng had prepared his defense, he was still shocked. That attack just now was just a test, but its power couldn't be underestimated. Even Mo Tianyi who was at the first tier would find it hard to deal with it, not to mention using his body to block it. Ha ha ha. Blue-haired brat, your strength is only a so-so. It seems like it was just your luck that you were able to fight Goddess Bing Wei to a draw. Shi Qingtian roared as he charged towards Zhao Feng with a mountain-like brown-yellow light. Rumble. Everywhere the bronze-like giant passed, the mountains, rivers and trees collapsed and dust rose. Zhao Feng's figure was so small as if he was suppressed to the point where he couldn't move and didn't even have the ability to resist. Zhao Feng's eyes were cold like lightning and his blue hair danced in the wind. The green lightning flower mark on his forehead flashed, making him look like the ruler of the evil path. Shwa! The electric light let out a sizzling sound, leaving behind a phantom image in its place. Shi Qingtian's eyes blurred and lost sight of Zhao Feng. Pang! Suddenly, a foot wrapped in lightning kicked towards his noisy mouth. Chapter 369. Pang! Fu as the lightning shifted, a cold figure with elegant blue hair appeared above Shi Qingtian's head. Green lightning gathered in his leg and kicked Shi Qingtian's mouth. Woo! Shi Qingtian's figure stopped and his voice stopped. His expression and actions were as if he had eaten a pile of shit and choked on it. The geniuses watching from afar were tongue-tied and stunned. Goddess Bing Wei's phoenix eyes were dazed. Time seemed to freeze at this moment. Zhao Feng's kick not only landed on Shi Qingtian's mouth, the tip of his foot also protruded into Shi Qingtian's mouth. Instantly, the edge of Shi Qingtian's mouth was scorched black. An overwhelming prodigy like him had finally paid the price for underestimating his opponent. However, Zhao Feng didn't have the upper hand. What a strong body! Zhao Feng's kick seemed to have landed on a mountain and his foot went numb. Shi Qingtian reacted and roared, causing the earth to tremble as his fist punched towards Zhao Feng. Simple and simple. Before the fist even arrived, the wind from it could make normal true mystic rank spit out blood. Once hit by the fist, the result would be unimaginable. Shua shua. Leaving behind an afterimage, Zhao Feng flew dozens of yards behind Shi Qingtian. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng was stronger than Shi Qingtian. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Shi Qingtian's body was the strongest and his defense was almost unparalleled. Only his speed was average. Ice Lightning Mystic Flower. Zhao Feng raised his palm and merged his bloodline power with his chi of true spirit. An aura of ice and lightning instantly enveloped Shi Qingtian's body. Boom! A flower of ice and thunder several dozen zhang in diameter blossomed magnificently. Lightning and thunder exploded as cold light wreaked havoc. After reaching the true mystic rank, Zhao Feng's power of ice and lightning was more perfect and its power increased greatly. In these few days of seclusion, Zhao Feng had absorbed the power of the lightning profound stone and comprehended the pure origin of lightning and thunder. This allowed Zhao Feng's control over the power of lightning and thunder to reach a whole new level. Zhao Feng's lightning inheritance had vaguely touched the highest 3rd level, and it had gradually broken away from the shackles of the original inheritance. It had merged with the profound meaning of the lightning profound stone and the essence of the mystic flower treasured Bible. This palm should be able to threaten the peerless geniuses. Zhao Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. With a flash of lightning, he appeared above Shi Qingtian's head again. After the dust and light dispersed, Shi Qingtian's brownish-yellow shell that looked like stone had threads of crystalline yellow luster on its surface. He was actually unharmed. Hiss! Zhao Feng sucked in a cold breath. His god's spiritual eye saw through Shi Qingtian's body and found that the surface of his skin had almost turned into stone, almost exceeding the limits of flesh and blood. That stone-like outer shell had a strong immunity to lightning, ice, and other kinds of attacks. It's useless. Shi Qingtian's body defense is invincible under the true lord rank. Only someone with an extremely corrosive bloodline or a wood attribute cultivation technique can pose a threat to him. Goddess Bing Wei, who was watching from afar, wasn't surprised. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, only Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice jade charming body's defense could be compared to Shi Qingtian's, but in terms of strength, it was still miles away. Zhao Feng's attacks mainly contained the elements of lightning and ice, while the mystic flower treasured Bible was wicked and didn't have strong elemental attributes. However, neither lightning nor ice could counter Shi Qingtian's earth element. Zhao Feng obviously didn't specialize in the wood element or dark corrosive skills. Blue-haired brat. You'll pay the price for your ignorance. Shi Qingtian roared towards the sky, raising both his arms high up. The surface of his stone skin shone with a strange earthen yellow profound light before disappearing. Not good. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye sensed something. The next instant, his body fell down as if it was 10,000 pounds. An invisible force pulled Zhao Feng down bit by bit. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng had merged with the lightning inheritance and the mystic flower treasured Bible, so he obviously surpassed Shi Qingtian. However, if there was 100,000 pounds on his body, no matter how fast he was, his speed would be reduced. Pang! Zhao Feng's figure landed on the ground and his breathing became heavy as his body was under great pressure. With every step he took, he had to expend several times more strength than usual. It could be said that every step was extremely difficult. This is Shi Qingtian's bloodline talent, Gravity Domain. Although Shi Qingtian's speed isn't fast, his bloodline talent can greatly reduce the opponent's speed. Goddess Bing Wei snickered coldly. This was also why if she teamed up with Shi Qingtian, even Yu Tianhao would most likely be defeated. Shi Qingtian's gravity domain along with her domain of ice could seal off normal True Lord ranks. Breaking Mountain Fist. Shi Qingtian's fist gave off a layer of crystal yellow ripples. The air and the ground constantly trembled. It was as if his fist was pushing a giant mountain. Under the gravity domain, Zhao Feng's speed was reduced by 60 to 70% and was even slower than Shi Qingtian. The latter was like a fish in water. Pang! Boom! Shi Qingtian's terrifying fist locked onto Zhao Feng and he couldn't dodge it. Zhao Feng felt a sense of danger and without hesitation, he took out the three-flowered treasured lotus and a throne appeared behind him. It was as if the power of the immemorial era had passed through space. Ice lightning break. Zhao Feng thrust out his palm and a giant figure of ice roared like a dragon, accompanied by a flurry of lightning. This palm was more focused on the condensation of ice. A layer of frost immediately condensed in all directions, and icy winds and cold currents wreaked havoc. Shi Qingtian was more or less affected and every bit closer he got to Zhao Feng would decrease his speed. This move, it's obvious that he secretly learned the secret art of the profound ice inheritance. Goddess Bing Wei who was watching from afar couldn't help but grit her teeth. Goddess Bing Wei's cultivation technique's power wasn't as great as its speed reduction, freezing and freezing. Her opponent would have already turned into an ice statue when she got close, but unfortunately Zhao Feng countered her. Zhao Feng's ice lightning break had stolen some of Goddess Bing Wei's skills and used it on his bloodline power. Boom! Shi Qingtian finally got close to Zhao Feng and took a blow from the three-flowered treasured lotus. The petals of the three-flowered treasured lotus instantly cracked and the light dimmed by more than half. Zhao Feng used the force of the three-flowered treasured lotus to fly back dozens of yards before his Yin shadow cloak flapped and his figure disappeared. With the help of the three-flowered treasured lotus, Zhao Feng flew back dozens of yards and with a shake of the Yin shadow cloak, his figure disappeared. Shi Qingtian who had the advantage found that Zhao Feng had disappeared and couldn't help but watch. He was confident that in the gravity domain, Zhao Feng's speed would be reduced by more than half, and he would have no advantage at all. At this moment, Shi Qingtian let out a breath after successfully suppressing Zhao Feng. Before fighting, he didn't think that the number one black horse of the new generation would be so hard to deal with. Shua! A mile away, the dim lightning figure turned into Zhao Feng's figure. This Shi Qingtian is actually suppressing me. The speed that Zhao Feng was so proud of was greatly reduced in front of Shi Qingtian. In reality, any genius that was skilled in speed would be at a disadvantage in front of Shi Qingtian. At this time, Zhao Feng had already escaped from Shi Qingtian's gravity domain. The range of the gravity domain didn't exceed 100 yards. Looks like close combat is no good. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye quickly spun and redesigned his strategy. Once he got close, Zhao Feng's speed would be countered. Strong defense, strong close combat, average speed, slightly clumsy. A cold and wicked smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Shua! A crystal blue bow appeared in his hand, and the three silver arrows instantly returned to their positions. Long-range weapon. Shi Qingtian's expression changed slightly when he saw the change in Zhao Feng's body. No matter how strong a defense was, if there was a single point that was constantly attacked, even if it was impregnable, it would still be breached. How can it be like this? Goddess Bing Wei who was watching from afar paled, unable to believe what had just happened. Of the 5 prodigies, apart from Yu Tianhao, she couldn't think of a second person that could force Shi Qingtian to this level. Chapter 370. This was a battle between heaven's favorites, so naturally, there were many spectators. Inside the light membrane space, within a radius of 100 miles, the number of geniuses who were secretly watching the battle increased from a few people to a dozen, then a few dozens. On a lone peak in the northwest corner, a ferocious two-headed, four-armed Siamese was watching the battle from afar. Zhe. It's best if we wait until they're both heavily injured before we charge over and destroy them. Taiyun Shuang laughed weirdly. That bitch goddess Bing Wei wants us to fight for her. Jie, how could it be so easy? No one can order us around. Taiyun Shuang said cunningly. Taiyun Shuang didn't agree to work with goddess Bing Wei and instead watched from the shadows. The situation was going smoothly and goddess Bing Wei and Taiyun Shuang went to fight. The prey, in the eyes of the overwhelming prodigies, was unimaginably strong and was fighting against the overwhelming prodigies. The stone man has been completely suppressed. The stone man can't even fight back against that guy. Taiyun Shuang's two faces were filled with shock as he stared at the battlefield in disbelief. Between the rivers, Zhao Feng used his eye of ice soul and froze Shi Qingtian's consciousness as he sped around. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, every time the Luoho Bao's ice and thunder arrows attacked, Shi Qingtian would feel a chill run down his spine. Roar! Shi Qingtian roared towards the sky and almost went crazy, but he couldn't change the fact that he was slow and stiff. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't even get close to his opponent. How sad was this? Although his defense was strong, Zhao Feng's Luoho Bao continued to attack his knees and the damage continued to accumulate. As time went on, Shi Qingtian's consciousness was slightly injured. This was because he had a soul treasure that could block and weaken mental energy attacks, or else the damage to his consciousness would be several times worse. It was obvious that Shi Qingtian's seniors had prepared a soul treasure before the sacred True Dragon gathering. Ancient Colosseum. On the spectating stand and stage, the experts of the continent including some sovereigns were all watching this battle. Zhao Feng. Some of the younger generation spectating the battle couldn't help exclaiming in excitement and worship. Many people had personally witnessed this youth's miraculous rise step by step. I can't believe he became a new peerless prodigy in such a short time. Before, when he fought goddess Bing Wei, it was a draw, but now he's beaten Shi Qingtian to the point where he can't fight back at all. The spectator stands were bustling with noise. More than 99% of the people were paying attention to this battle. From the start of the sacred True Dragon gathering until now, a new genius had successfully defeated the overwhelming prodigies and created a new glory. Junior brother Zhao, you were actually able to reach this step. I will definitely bring this good news back to the 13 countries and the Broken Moon clan to master. Tears welled up in Yang Gan's eyes as his body trembled with excitement. At this moment, he was overjoyed to the point of insanity. The Broken Moon clan has such a genius. When Brother Zhao returns to the 13 countries, he'll definitely change the situation in the cloud area. Yang Gan was pleasantly surprised and expectant. With Zhao Feng's current growth rate, his strength would definitely increase after the sacred True Dragon gathering ended and he entered the inheritance. On the stage, the 9 sovereigns silently watched the battle between Zhao Feng and Shi Qingtian. Zhao Feng has indeed reached the level of an overwhelming prodigy. This is the 6th overwhelming prodigy. Will there be a 7th or even more? The bronze-skinned deputy palace lord murmured with expectation in his eyes. At this moment no one doubted Zhao Feng's strength or his status as an overwhelming prodigy. Becoming an overwhelming prodigy at the age of 17. In this era, only Yu Tianhao and a few other overwhelming prodigies could be compared to him. This Zhao Feng's strength isn't much different from Shi Qingtian, but he can always find the flaws of others. The mystic sword sovereign sighed. That's right, no one is perfect and there's no perfect skill in the world. This Zhao Feng can always find the flaws of others. That's his trump card. The Green Moon Sovereign nodded her head in agreement. She had been paying attention to Zhao Feng for a long time, and at the beginning it was because of the little thieving cat. But, if this continues, Shi Qingtian's leg might be crippled. A sovereign's eyebrows furrowed. Every overwhelming prodigy was a prodigy that would only appear once in several generations. They could be said to be the future sovereigns that would decide the fate of the continent. If allowed, the Sacred Alliance wouldn't let any accidents happen to any overwhelming prodigy, even if they were crippled. Within the bubble of light, Shi Qingtian's knee was suffering from the continuous attacks from the Luoho Bao, and he was limping as he ran. He shot dozens of arrows. Each arrow is filled with ice and lightning and is enough to threaten an overwhelming prodigy, but he's only lightly injured. Zhao Feng, who was in the middle of drawing his bow, was also surprised. Even someone at the true lord rank would lose a layer of skin if they didn't die from this many arrows. Of course. In just a dozen or so breaths, the outcome of the battle was decided. Shi Qingtian's mind was injured and his mental energy reaction was slow. His knee was injured and his speed decreased. Even in close combat, Zhao Feng could crush Shi Qingtian. Shameless bastard. Don't be arrogant. Goddess Bing Wei reacted and charged towards Zhao Feng in a streak of cold light. At this moment she couldn't care about what she promised Shi Qingtian. It's too late. Zhao Feng smiled and put away the Luoho Bao as an azure lightning flame flashed in his left eye. Lightning Fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng's Lightning Fire God's Eye first locked onto Shi Qingtian. Not good. Tell him to stop. The expressions of the sovereigns on the stage changed. Before this, Zhao Feng's ice and lightning attacks had continuously damaged Shi Qingtian's body. Shi Qingtian's stone-like body became incomparably cold, hard, and brittle. The cold power of the ice soul continued to freeze his mind. If he were to launch another attack and instantly explode with the super-powerful Thunder Fire God's Eye, turning from extreme cold to extreme heat, it would bring great harm to Shi Qingtian, whether it was his body or his spirit. However, even if they knew this, the sovereigns on the stage couldn't stop it. The Sacred True Dragon Gathering had lost control of the Sacred Alliance and was controlled by the ancient arena. At this moment, Shi Qingtian also felt a fatal sense of danger. He tried his best to kneel on the ground and cover his head with his hands. This way, he could avoid the fatal attack and reduce the damage by more than half. Boom! A ball of fierce lightning fire landed on Goddess Bing Wei. Sai. You. Goddess Bing Wei was shocked and enraged as lightning and fire exploded on her body. The transparent power of lightning and fire quickly eroded into the mental energy dimension and burned. It was obvious that the Lightning Fire God's Eye countered Goddess Bing Wei's Mystic Ice technique. Compared to the first round, Zhao Feng's Lightning Fire God's Eye had reached a whole new level. In the past few days of seclusion, Zhao Feng had absorbed the purer lightning yuan qi from the lightning mystic stone and purposely raised his true spirit lightning flame. This sudden eye flame caught Goddess Bing Wei off guard and her mind was lightly injured. Her snow-white skin was scorched black. Hu on the other side, Shi Qingtian covered his head with his hands and curled up on the ground. Finding that the lightning fire god's eye didn't land on him, he let out a long breath with lingering fear. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was extremely fast and could definitely attack him before he could cover his head. If Zhao Feng was a bit more cunning and aimed the lightning fire god's eye at his slightly crippled knee, it could definitely cripple Shi Qingtian's leg. Why didn't he attack me? Shi Qingtian had just survived the calamity and was puzzled. At this time he found that Goddess Bing Wei had been attacked by the lightning fire god's eye and was at a disadvantage. The river was in a mess. The two overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bing Wei and Shi Qingtian, one in the air and one on the ground, both seemed to be in a ruffled state. Chapter 371. In the air above the river. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei met for the second time, and the aura of the true spirit realm in the air caused lightning to crackle and cold wind to howl. That shameless bastard. He made my sister miss the sacred true dragon gathering and secretly learned our mystic ice inheritance. Goddess Bing Wei's eyes flashed with coldness and unwillingness as her chest heaved up and down. When her snow-white skin glowed as she circulated her mystic ice jade charming body to the maximum, and a powerful aura of coldness enveloped a 100-yard radius. This coldness reached the bone marrow and even had an effect similar to Zhao Feng's Eye of Ice Soul. Bloodline secret technique has been activated and my defense has increased. My damaged skin has quickly recovered and the coldness has formed a domain. Zhao Feng's heart jumped as he found that Goddess Bing Wei's strength was hidden deeper than he had imagined. In just a few breaths, Goddess Bing Wei's skin was flawless and as smooth as glass. The only thing that couldn't be healed in a short amount of time was the damage to her mind. This is the power of the domain of ice. Using the bloodline secret technique of the mystic ice jade charming body to freeze everything nearby. Even overwhelming prodigies of the same rank will be greatly slowed down. Mo Tianyi floated to the surface of the water and watched the battle. Before, when Zhao Feng defeated Shi Qingtian, he was shocked, but the process was short. Now that Zhao Feng was fighting Goddess Bing Wei again, Mo Tianyi wasn't worried. After all, Zhao Feng's bloodline countered Goddess Bing Wei, and the lightning fire god's eye flame also countered Goddess Bing Wei. The power of the domain of ice. If this technique was combined with Shi Qingtian's gravity domain, the effect would more than double. Zhao Feng thought and understood Goddess Bing Wei and Shi Qingtian's original plan. Once the domain of ice and the gravity domain was combined, even those at the true lord rank would be restricted. No one in the sacred true dragon gathering would be able to counter it. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. Goddess Bing Wei sent out a berserk icy wind that swept across a mile radius, instantly freezing the river. Zhao Feng's blood and qi of true spirit froze. If he didn't have the corresponding bloodline power, Goddess Bing Wei would be a very troublesome opponent and he would be on the defensive. Buzz! Behind Zhao Feng, an imposing, tall, and illusory figure of ice light appeared. The silhouette became clearer, including the frozen throne. Goddess Bing Wei's ice attacks were absorbed a lot when they got close. Zhao Feng's body was protected by a kind of cold energy that increased his defense, especially against ice-type attacks. Profound Ice Demon Suppression Mountain. Goddess Bing Wei let out a shout and quickly closed in. She waved her hand and shot out several giant ice mountains that smashed down from the sky. What is this Goddess Bing Wei planning? Zhao Feng was puzzled. With a wave of his hand, the two sources of true spirit in his body shattered the ice mountain with a few palms. Compared to before, Zhao Feng's fight with Goddess Bing Wei was much easier. Hu Shua. Goddess Bing Wei's eyes were cold as she closed in and the domain of ice enveloped Zhao Feng. As Zhao Feng fell into the limitless domain of ice, the figure of ice and throne behind him continued to absorb and convert the power of the ice. Although the domain of ice is strong, its effect is greatly reduced for me. Zhao Feng was puzzled. The domain of ice used extreme coldness to freeze all beings and objects within range. However, for Zhao Feng, the effect was reduced by 70%. Goddess Bing Wei was wasting her bloodline power. But soon, Zhao Feng felt something was wrong. Goddess Bing Wei kept on closing in and the domain of ice was getting closer and closer to the core. This was because the core of the domain of ice was Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice jade charming body. However, in close combat, Zhao Feng wasn't afraid of Goddess Bing Wei. Peng peng. The power of ice and lightning blossomed and clashed again and again. Zhao Feng became more and more courageous and his qi of true spirit flowed more smoothly. Goddess Bing Wei couldn't gain any advantage in close combat. Zhao Feng indeed had the battle power of an overwhelming prodigy and his bloodline countered her. Whether it was close combat or long range, he wasn't afraid. Of course, Zhao Feng's bloodline power couldn't do anything to Goddess Bing Wei. Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice jade charming body's defense was extremely strong and was almost immune to normal ice attacks. Lightning Fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng used his bloodline power and his eye flame wreaked havoc on Goddess Bing Wei. However, under the domain of ice, the Lightning Fire God's Eye's effect on Goddess Bing Wei was weakened. Furthermore, Goddess Bing Wei was constantly on guard against the Lightning Fire God's Eye and wasn't caught off guard like before. Zhao Feng's Lightning Fire God's Eye only did a small amount of damage to Goddess Bing Wei's mind. Goddess Bing Wei let out a muffled groan as she bit her snow-white teeth and took the attack head-on. There must be a scheme. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he found Goddess Bing Wei kept on fighting him. In close combat, the domain of ice did indeed affect Zhao Feng's speed. However, Zhao Feng found that Goddess Bing Wei's close combat abilities were very average. She didn't have Shi Qingtian's strength nor his agility. Zhao Feng soon found a flaw in Goddess Bing Wei's battle. Ice Lightning Mystic Flower. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed as he sent a palm towards Goddess Bing Wei. Goddess Bing Wei's hands parted and her chest was exposed. Goddess Bing Wei's expression changed as she tried to dodge. Pew! But it was too late. Zhao Feng's palm landed near the chest of the girl with the snow-white skin. Zhao Feng felt something was wrong as he felt his palm hit Goddess Bing Wei's full chest. Ah! He instantly paused and his face went slightly red. In terms of defense, Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice jade charming body wasn't any weaker than Shi Qingtian's powerful body. Not to mention the cushioning of her breasts. Furthermore, the mystic ice jade charming body was almost completely immune to ice attacks. Zhao Feng didn't even injure Goddess Bing Wei with this palm. Crap! I've been tricked. Zhao Feng realized the situation wasn't good. Goddess Bing Wei had purposely left a flaw for him. As expected, he saw Goddess Bing Wei reveal a mocking smile. He was just about to retreat when he saw Goddess Bing Wei's domain of ice reach its limit. A terrifying and fatal coldness approached Zhao Feng and his blood almost froze as he shuddered. Not only that. As Goddess Bing Wei took the attack, she opened her arms and hugged Zhao Feng. Ah! Exclamations of surprise came from all over the place. The nearby spectators all had their mouths wide open as they stared dazedly. In the ancient arena, the various experts in the spectator area were all stunned, and their jaws almost dropped to the ground. That's right. Goddess Bing Wei hugged Zhao Feng tightly. If it was any other scene, people would think they were a couple in love. Hee, Zhao Feng's been tricked. The Mystic Ice Queen's lips curled into a smile. Zhao Feng stood still being hugged tightly by Goddess Bing Wei. A bone-chilling coldness spread throughout his body. Being hugged by such a beautiful ice beauty should be a blissful thing, but to Zhao Feng, it was like stepping into an endless abyss of ice. Limitless coldness sealed Zhao Feng's body. In the blink of an eye, a layer of ice formed on Zhao Feng's body and the coldness tried to freeze his chi of true spirit and bloodline power. This Goddess Bing Wei is so shameless, using her chest to tempt me and freeze me. Zhao Feng's body froze and started to tremble. He hugged Goddess Bing Wei like this. First it was a warm and fragrant body, then it was endless cold and hard. The two were inches apart. Zhao Feng's mouth almost kissed Goddess Bing Wei's jade-like face. Goddess Bing Wei was like a goddess of ice, her mouth curled with cold killing intent. In terms of ice mastery, apart from his bloodline power, Zhao Feng was more than a level lower than Goddess Bing Wei. At such a close distance, Zhao Feng's speed advantage was useless. It wasn't that Zhao Feng didn't want to struggle. Goddess Bing Wei's cultivation was 1 or 2 levels higher than his and her chi of true spirit was pure. She also had a bloodline power and had cultivated the mystic ice jade charming body, so her body was stronger than his. Ice mastery was Goddess Bing Wei's domain and she obviously suppressed Zhao Feng. Being hugged like this, Zhao Feng's body went stiff. His entire body was covered in ice, and he couldn't break free. CC. With visible speed, Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei's bodies started to turn into ice. Zhao Feng's body was completely sealed in ice and Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice jade charming body was like a crystal and her movements weren't affected at all. In just a few breaths, everything within 100 yards was frozen and even those at the true mystic rank couldn't get close. In the center of the snow and ice, a male and female ice statue hugged each other like a pair of immortals. Mo Tianyi, who was watching from the back, was dazed. Shi Qingtian sat dazedly nearby and felt a layer of ice spread over him. What was going on? The geniuses within 100 miles had their mouths open so wide that an apple could be stuffed in. What's going on? Why are the two of them sealed in ice? Goddess Bing Wei is so cunning. I knew she didn't have any good intentions. Taiyun Shuangzi, who was on the lone peak, stared at the frozen man and woman in shock. At the same time, in the eastern direction, the heaven-earth yuan qi in the air started to tremble. Weng boom! The air and earth seemed to tremble. Rainbow-colored clouds of heaven-earth yuan qi roiled around the river. Sister Yufei has broken through. Mo Tianyi exclaimed. A powerful true mystic rank aura appeared out of nowhere. Limitless yuan qi of the heaven-earth yuan qi formed a shocking scene. Only those at the true Lord rank can summon the heaven-earth yuan qi. How is this possible? The experts in the ancient arena couldn't help but exclaim. In the air above Zhao Yufei's breakthrough, the heaven-earth yuan qi formed beautiful clouds as if it was being pampered by the heavens. What kind of bloodline is this? It's almost as powerful as the true Lord rank when it reaches the true mystic rank. The 9 sovereigns all revealed expressions of shock. This scene could only be seen in legends, such as the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch, Sword Saint Yi Wuxie or Yu Tianhao. At the same time, when an enormous figure appeared in the air above the ancient arena and a powerful inheritance aura swept over. Chapter 372. The instant Zhao Yufei reached the true mystic rank, a new inheritance projection appeared in the ancient arena. This inheritance projection was shockingly large and gave off a cold aura that suppressed the nearby inheritance projections. The inheritance projections that had already appeared were instantly pushed aside. Everyone focused their gazes and looked at the floating images in the sky. They saw that the palaces were like sparkling and translucent ice jade. They could only vaguely make out the outlines of the palaces that were covered in snow and ice. Mystic Ice Inheritance. The Mystic Ice Queen exclaimed as she stared at the inheritance projection in joy. The Mystic Ice Palace had guarded one of the entrances to the Mystic Ice Inheritance and understood it extremely well. However, being one of the 4 great inheritances, the Mystic Ice Inheritance obviously wasn't so simple to be controlled by a single force. The Mystic Ice Palace only controlled one of the entrances to the Mystic Ice Inheritance. Only the Sacred True Dragon Gathering could allow the main inheritance of the Mystic Ice Inheritance to connect with the ancient arena. One of the 4 great inheritances, Mystic Ice Inheritance. Ha ha ha, ice cultivators are lucky. The ancient arena was in an uproar. Being one of the 4 great inheritances, the Mystic Ice Inheritance only appeared once every 1,000 or even several thousand years. Once the Mystic Ice Inheritance appeared, some of the lost ice path cultivation techniques, treasures, and natural treasures would appear on the continent, which could promote the development of the ice path cultivation on the continent. It could be said that the appearance of any one of the 4 great inheritances would greatly affect the fate of the continent. Amongst them, the Heaven's Legacy Inheritance was the most ancient and mysterious. Every time it appeared, it would change the situation of the continent. This is the second of the 4 great inheritances. Unfortunately, the previous Scarlet Moon Inheritance was taken by the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Sovereign Yu Tianhao sighed. The appearance of each inheritance isn't a coincidence. There must be geniuses that fit the requirements. The bronze-skinned giant's eyes turned towards the area of light. More accurately speaking, his eyes locked onto Xiao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei, who were sealed in ice. It's probably Goddess Bing Wei's powerful bloodline and ice cultivation technique that resonates with the mystic ice inheritance. Adding on the fact that this generation's dragon blessing is so strong. Maybe it's related to Xiao Feng. His bloodline is also of the ice element and it's a pure ancient bloodline. The venerables nodded in agreement. The appearance of the profound ice inheritance was naturally a good thing. The Sacred Alliance was overjoyed and had even greater expectations. After all, the Sacred True Dragon Gathering hadn't reached the end yet. Among the 9 venerables, there was a white-robed old Taoist with a sage-like demeanor. He had been silent all this time. He only took a quick glance at the profound ice inheritance. Most of his attention was on the scene of Xiao Yufei advancing. The 10,000 ancient races are the strongest bloodlines in the universe. Any one of these bloodlines is no less valuable than one of the 4 great inheritances. The white-robed old Taoist stared at him without moving. In his eyes, the bloodline phenomenon of Xiao Yufei reaching the true mystic rank was even more important than connecting to an inheritance. The white-robed old Taoist was Xiao Yufei's master, the supreme elder of the Heaven Yuan sect, and also a member of the Sacred Alliance. The white-robed Taoist didn't speak much about this sacred true dragon gathering. This was because he was carrying a big secret like Xiao Yufei, even if he had not confirmed it yet. Apart from the other Grand Elder of the Heaven Yuan sect, no one else knew this secret. At this moment in time, Xiao Yufei had reached the true mystic rank and her bloodline was extremely shocking. Other sovereigns might sense it. Once the secret was confirmed and leaked, especially to the outer realms, it would be hard to predict the consequences of the white-robed Taoist priest. At the very least, the Heaven Yuan sect would not be able to control the situation. Therefore, the white-robed old Taoist was uneasy. Luckily, the appearance of the mystic ice inheritance shifted everyone's attention. Dao Sovereign Baiyun, that Xiao Yufei seems to be your disciple. Her bloodline sign of reaching the true mystic rank isn't simple. The Green Moon Sovereign smiled faintly and noticed the white-robed old Taoist's nervous expression. The white-robed old Taoist was Dao Sovereign Baiyun, one of the 9 sovereigns present. So it's Dao Sovereign Baiyun's disciple. Her bloodline talent is indeed strong. She might be another overwhelming prodigy comparable to Sword Saint Yi Wuxie. From the looks of it, this girl has reached the true mystic rank and her bloodline power is at least close to that of an overwhelming prodigy. The sovereigns all congratulated her and praised her. Dao Sovereign Baiyun pretended to be worried. My disciple has reached the true mystic rank too quickly and might cause her foundation to be unstable. In reality, he knew clearly that Xiao Yufei's bloodline was innately compatible with the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi and her Qi of true spirit was extremely pure. In the light membrane space, near the river zone, colorful flowers of Yuan Qi bloomed one after another. It was a magnificent sight. The cave at the bottom of the river. Xiao Yufei's skin was as white as crystal jade, and it even appeared to be translucent. There was also a layer of faint colorful light, like a flower bud that was about to bloom. Her pretty face was tranquil, and under the illumination of the faint multicolored light, there was a kind of elegant and holy aura. With her as the center, the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi resonated with her. She felt that the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi was extremely close, as if it was her mother. With every breath, she could easily summon the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi. The resonance with the Heaven-Earth was 10 times stronger than normal true mystic ranks and was comparable to the true Lord rank. In a short while, her true force cultivation easily surpassed the initial stages of the true mystic rank and approached the early stages of the true mystic rank. After breaking through to the true mystic rank, she had stepped into a whole new world. Everything happened naturally. Luckily, she was hiding in the cave and no one outside could see her actual situation. Of course, those at the true Lord rank and Sovereign rank would be able to see things from outside. This is an unprecedented cultivation bloodline. As long as one's mental energy level reaches a certain level, they can break through without any obstructions. The bronze-skinned deputy palace lord couldn't help but feel envious. This bloodline suddenly made him think of something. Could it be? That's impossible. The thought was rejected by the bronze-skinned man himself. The rainbow-colored clouds lingered near the river zone for a moment before the various phenomena slowly faded. Zhao Yufei seemed to find that her foundation wasn't strong enough, or else she would be able to reach the early stages of the true mystic rank in one go. If it was Zhao Feng with this bloodline, he would be able to reach the early stages or even the late stages of the true mystic rank in one go. However, there was no such thing as a perfect bloodline. Zhao Feng's bloodline leaned towards mental energy and his mental energy level was unparalleled. On the other hand, Zhao Yufei leaned towards true force and yuan qi. Her true force cultivation increased by leaps and bounds, but her mental energy level couldn't keep up. In the river. In a world of ice and snow, Zhao Feng had turned into an ice statue and was hugged by goddess Bing Wei. Bastard! Let's see how long you can last. In terms of cultivation and mastery of the ice Tao, you're far below me. Goddess Bing Wei's skin turned into ice as she hugged Zhao Feng. The two maintained this hug for half the time it took to make tea. Goddess Bing Wei's power of ice is still moving. This means that Zhao Feng hasn't been completely sealed in ice. Mo Tianyi didn't know what to do. He was going to save Zhao Feng, but Sister Yufei was also in seclusion. Senior brother, according to our agreement, Zhao Feng is in seclusion trying to break through to the true mystic rank and will protect him. Now that the agreement has been completed, whether we save him or not isn't part of the agreement. Furthermore, we can't get close to the depths of the ice. In a secluded valley in the light membrane space. Your Xan Wuheng. The black-haired Yu Tianhao stared at the ordinary-looking man sitting cross-legged on the big rock across from him with his deep and spacious black eyes. Why did you chase me for so long? I'm not your match. You should know that no one is your match in the sacred true dragon gathering. Xian Wuheng shook his head and sighed. Chapter 373. You should know that no one is your match in the sacred true dragon gathering. Yu Tianhao didn't give up because of Xian Wuheng's words and instead revealed a surprised and solemn expression. He had a feeling that this ordinary-looking man in front of him had a unique insight, and it was very likely that he had seen through all of his weaknesses, which was why he said that. You have no path of retreat. Attack or give up the true dragon token. Yu Tianhao smiled arrogantly and floated on a rock opposite Xian Wuheng. Give up the true dragon token. Xian Wuheng sighed bitterly in his heart. This was something he couldn't do. The reason he was participating in the sacred true dragon gathering wasn't for the rankings but for the greater fortune, the inheritances. The Heaven's Legacy inheritance can't be missed. This is a chance to soar. Xian Wuheng's eyes twinkled. His true dragon token glowed with a golden light and his ranking was around the top 10. He hadn't lost a single battle and had even beaten 2 or 3 experts of the first tier. A peak true human rank cultivation and such a strong dragon blessing. The person Zhao Feng recommended is indeed not simple. Yu Tianhao's aura quickly retracted. In an instant, Yu Tianhao's cultivation was suppressed to the peak true human rank. Obviously, he didn't want to take advantage of Xian Wuheng. You won't be my match like this. Xian Wuheng said expressionlessly. Hearing this, Yu Tianhao couldn't help but laugh, arrogant. Ancient arena, on the base of the oval stage. The sovereigns, especially Yu Xingqian, watched the confrontation between Yu Tianhao and Xian Wuheng. Xian Wuheng was a very special black horse in this sacred true dragon gathering, just below Zhao Feng. Being the number 1 genius of the continent, Yu Tianhao's every action was watched. Yu Tianhao's mental energy intent is comparable to the true lord rank. Even if his cultivation is suppressed, no one would be his match. However, this Xian Wuheng is very strange. His state of mind is very profound, and he vaguely has the air of a grandmaster. He's always defeated the strong with a lower cultivation base. The sovereigns were slightly interested. Unparalleled under the heavens. Yu Tianhao made his move. With a wave of his hand, a beautiful aurora-like palm light tore through the air, imbued with an unparalleled will and conviction, looking down on everything. It was clearly a palm from a peak true human rank, but it had reached a level that shocked even those at the true mystic rank. Just that tyrannical and domineering willpower alone could instantly break through the enemy's willpower, shatter the void, and force back gods and ghosts. Limitless palm. Xian Wuheng was unperturbed. With one hand behind his back, he slowly swept through the void with the other. A layer of palm energy rippled like water, colorless and translucent, without any obvious elemental orientation. Wang. Yu Tianhao's move, which had swept through millions of geniuses, fell in front of Xian Wuheng. It was as if it had fallen into a swamp, infinitely slowing down and weakening. The first move. It was a simple and ordinary neutralization. It didn't have the huge might that he had imagined. Xian Wuheng stood where he was, his knees slightly bent, one hand behind his back, and the other extended. His black hair danced in the wind, giving him a strange demeanor, as if he was a martial arts master. Eh! The supremacies on the oval platform exclaimed in shock. He wasn't impatient and was extremely calm. Xian Wuheng gave off a calmness like water, as if he wasn't a youth, but a grandmaster. He didn't have peak talent or a powerful bloodline. With his mortal body, he was able to create lotuses with every step he took. He was able to compete with so many monstrous geniuses of this era. Interesting. Yu Tianhao's eyes burned with battle intent and his will became stronger. He roared and stepped in front of Xian Wuheng in one step. Close combat. Xian Wuheng was expressionless with one hand behind his back. The other hand seemed fast yet slow, hard yet soft. Pa! Pa! In the blink of an eye, Xian Wuheng and Yu Tianhao exchanged a few palms. This time, Yu Tianhao's will had been ignited and his attacks became stronger. Even at the same cultivation, Xian Wuheng found it hard to fight head-on. After all, Yu Tianhao's unparalleled in the heavens was about dominating and suppressing everything. Such a powerful martial will, such a formless mental energy, it's beyond the level of intent cultivation techniques. Xian Wuheng's expression was solemn as he understood that his opponent this time was stronger than before. Swish! His footwork changed and his palm technique combined with his movement technique. His body, palm technique, and comprehension merged into one. At that moment, Xian Wuheng gave off a feeling that he was attached to the heavens and earth, as if he had turned into nature and could contain everything. Yu Tianhao's powerful attacks were slowly dissolved by his movement technique. Boom! Boom! Pa! The two's close combat became more and more intense and dangerous. It was as if they were standing on a steel wire with a bottomless abyss below them. Many people on the spectator stand were dumbfounded and took a deep breath. What was even more amazing was that when the two fought, the stones under their feet didn't collapse and only some footprints were left. From this, one could see how much control they had over their power. Shifting stars. Xian Wuheng's palm technique changed once again. With a push and a spin, the rippling palm energy pulled Yu Tianhao's attack away. This move is interesting. Yu Tianhao's figure swayed and he was almost pulled away by Xian Wuheng's move. And this was only because of his profound mental state. If it were some other top geniuses, they might have fallen flat on their faces. If he starts cultivating from the beginning, even if he has no talent or bloodline, would he be mediocre? The mystic sword sovereign gave an example. That's a good hypothesis. There's nothing absolute in the world. Although talent and bloodline is the king, it's not the only way. The key is fortune. Wasn't the Scarlet Moon Patriarch also average talent and no bloodline? The sovereigns all agreed. Looking through the history of the continent, there were exceptions like Xin Wuheng. Between the rivers, the frozen land was in a complete mess. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei hugged each other and turned into ice. As time passed, Goddess Bing Wei was more and more surprised. The qi of true spirit within Zhao Feng's body was stronger than expected. It had already been an hour and Zhao Feng had been burning his qi of true spirit. Although it was only a small amount, the burning of his qi of true spirit was extremely powerful and had a strong melting effect on ice. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's bloodline power continued to absorb Goddess Bing Wei's power of ice and his bloodline seemed to become stronger. This bitch used such shameless methods to seal me in ice. Although Zhao Feng's life wasn't in danger, he still felt sullen. He couldn't bear being hugged by an ice woman for so long. However, his body was sealed in ice and he didn't dare to burn his qi of true spirit in large amounts, much less his source of true spirit. Voila! Hoo boom! Suddenly, an earth-shattering rumble came from the river behind them. The river water was suffused with a multicolored glow, and it shot 300 m into the air. A peerlessly beautiful young girl in a violet dress with lustrous snow-white skin floated in midair, and her silk sash fluttered in the air, causing her to be extremely beautiful. Yu Fei! How come you're out so fast? Mo Tianyi jumped up in fright. Where's brother Zhao Feng? Zhao Yufei's eyes flashed with a bright light. She suddenly sensed something and glanced towards the cold ice sky snow region. At the center of the snow region, Zhao Feng and an ice goddess were hugging each other. That scene caused her heart to feel inexplicably downcast and cold. Let go of brother Zhao Feng. When she saw the situation clearly, coldness flashed in her eyes and she turned into a rainbow light that charged towards the center of the snow region. Huweng as Zhao Yufei flew, the sky was dyed with a layer of rainbow light. Many geniuses at the true spirit realm sensed this and their hearts jumped. What a powerful aura! It's like a true lord rank that can summon the heaven-earth yuan qi. Goddess Bing Wei, who was hugging Zhao Feng, tightly gritted her teeth and the area around her started to glow with a cold blue light. The coldness of her domain of ice rose once more. Chapter 374. Goddess Bing Wei sensed Zhao Yufei's arrival and used her mystic ice bloodline to increase the power of ice to a terrifying level. She was prepared to seal the person who came to save her in ice as well. It was because of this reason that Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man didn't dare to save Zhao Feng. Normal true mystic ranks wouldn't be able to move the center of ice and might even be affected by the coldness. Sister Yufei, watch out! Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed, but it was too late to stop her. In terms of speed, Zhao Yufei had already surpassed Mo Tianyi. In an instant, Zhao Yufei flew above the center of ice and the coldness became stronger the closer she got. Even true mystic ranks would find it hard to reach the center of ice. Zhao Yufei's snow-white skin was sparkling, giving off a kind of translucent feeling. When the cold energy invaded her, it didn't freeze her or seal her in ice. Her body was surrounded by a rainbow glow that resonated with the heaven-earth yuan qi within a mile radius and gave off the illusion that she was at the true lord rank. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man could only watch as Zhao Yufei neared the center of ice. At this moment, although Zhao Yufei's bloodline was special and she had a half-spiritual body, a layer of frost still appeared on her body that intertwined with the rainbow glow. Break! Zhao Yufei shouted in a tender voice. Her jade-like hand emitted a sharp multicolored light. Like a multicolored blade, it transformed into hundreds of phantoms and fiercely hacked on the ice layer. Boom! Boom! Cracks started to appear on the outer layer of the frozen region, and some places even exploded. What a strong power! Her every action resonates with the power of the heaven-earth. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were dazed. Zhao Yufei came out of seclusion, and her strength was unexpectedly strong. Although Zhao Yufei's cultivation was still at the early stages of the true human rank, her ability to resonate with the heaven-earth Yuan Qi was comparable to the true Lord rank. Don't even think about it. Do you really think you can break through my ice seal? Goddess Bing Wei's body released an even colder light and the surrounding ice quickly healed. Wisps of icy wind and cold air howled as they rushed towards Zhao Yufei. Zhao Yufei cried out in surprise. She used her secret art to resist the backlash of shattering the icy wind. In terms of strength, Zhao Yufei was still slightly weaker than Goddess Bing Wei, who was an overwhelming prodigy. However, Goddess Bing Wei had forgotten one point: the frozen Zhao Feng was the sixth overwhelming prodigy, an existence on the same level as her. She diverted her attention to deal with Zhao Yufei, giving Zhao Feng time to catch his breath. Taking advantage of this time, Zhao Feng burned some of his qi of true spirit to dissolve the ice-sealing cold energy in his body. Profound thunder explosion. The surface of Zhao Feng's body was covered in flower petals of lightning, and as they bloomed one after another, their power continued to surge. Boom! 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 A deafening explosion erupted from the outside of the ice layer, successfully coordinating with Zhao Yufei's attack from the inside. At this moment in time, everyone within 100 miles could hear the sound of an iceberg collapsing. The surrounding ice started to crumble layer by layer. The terrifying explosive power of the profound thunder explosion immediately hit Goddess Bing Wei, who was hugging Zhao Feng. The distance was too close. Goddess Bing Wei's body went numb and flew back dozens of yards as blood leaked from the corner of her mouth. Burning my qi of true spirit is indeed powerful. This mystic lightning explosion is a technique I created myself while I was sealed in ice by fusing the lightning inheritance, lightning mystic rock, and the profound essence of the mystic flower treasure book. Zhao Feng's figure turned into a chaotic wave of lightning that scorched the ground wherever he passed. He was like a god of destruction. The spectating overwhelming prodigies such as Shiqing Tian and Taiyun Shuangzi were all shocked. The profound thunder explosion was after all used by burning his qi of true spirit, and its power was terrifying. Before, because Zhao Feng's body was sealed in ice, he lacked an outlet and didn't dare explode out of fear of injuring himself. Brother Zhao, are you okay? Zhao Yufei tried her best to dissolve the ice and lightning around her and met up with Zhao Feng. Yufei. You've come at the right time. The two stood side by side facing Goddess Bing Wei in the air above the ruined river. Lightning fire God's eye. Without saying a word, Zhao Feng sent out an eye flame that burned Goddess Bing Wei's body. Goddess Bing Wei felt a burning pain in her mind and circulated her mystic ice jade charming body to extinguish the lightning fire. You bastard! Goddess Bing Wei's face was slightly pale as she breathed rapidly. At this point in the battle, Goddess Bing Wei had used all her methods and even used a hug to freeze an unfamiliar man, but she had still failed. Not only that, Goddess Bing Wei had expended a lot of energy and the injury on her mind became bigger. An overwhelming prodigy and a quasi-overwhelming prodigy. It'll be troublesome if I don't leave. Goddess Bing Wei turned into a streak of cold light and escaped towards the west. Zhao Feng sent Goddess Bing Wei off with his eyes but didn't chase. He and Zhao Yufei had just broken through and hadn't consolidated their foundations, so they couldn't fight for long. Furthermore, Zhao Feng didn't have any confidence in keeping Goddess Bing Wei here. The latter's ice bloodline and mystic ice jade charming body were hard to deal with. Zhao Feng's bloodline could absorb ice attacks and Goddess Bing Wei's bloodline had strong defense and was almost immune to normal ice attacks. Chapter 375. Unparalleled under the heavens. The battle intent on Yu Tianhao's body shot into the sky as an all-powerful martial Tao will annihilated the gods and ghosts in the void, and it pushed out a palm strike that was extremely domineering and was like a gorgeous aurora. The ground faintly trembled while the clouds in the sky roiled and lost their color. At that instant, he seemed to become the only existence in the heavens and earth with a powerful will that looked down on everything. Star Passage. 10,000 Origins Return. Xian Wuheng had a solemn expression as he took a horse stance and his hands drew a ripple in the air as he tried to absorb and redirect Yu Tianhao's palm. However, at the last moment, with the increase in his martial intent, Yu Tianhao's cultivation uncontrollably reached the late stages of the true mystic rank. Bam! Xian Wuheng's body flew back into the mountain causing dust to rise. I've lost. If you want the true dragon token I can give it to you. Xian Wuheng expressionlessly took out the true dragon token. In the barrier of light, winning or losing didn't mean you could take away the true dragon genius blessing. You had to take the true dragon token. The difference in cultivation as well as Yu Tianhao's unique bloodline and unstoppable martial intent meant there wasn't much suspense in this battle. You're only at the early stages of the true mystic rank, but you forced me to use the strength of the late stages of the true mystic rank to barely win. Yu Tianhao looked deeply at Xian Wuheng as if to remember the latter's appearance. However, Xian Wuheng's appearance was too normal and had almost no special characteristics. On the other hand, his calm and unhurried temperament didn't match his age. Finally, Yu Tianhao didn't take Xian Wuheng's true dragon token and flew away. In his heart, he didn't even win this battle and could even be said to have lost. Being the #1 genius of the continent, Yu Tianhao had been surrounded by countless halos and had always stood at the peak of his generation. Although he didn't lose this battle, he still felt slightly defeated. Xian Wuheng sent Yu Tianhao off with his eyes and shook his head. Not taking the true dragon token was within his expectations. Ancient Arena, on the base of the oval stage. Although Xian Wuheng seemed to lose in the last move, he wasn't injured at all and dissipated all the power. The Green Moon Sovereign's face didn't hide her surprise. That's fine. Er's path of cultivation has been too smooth. It's not a good thing that he has no opponents. Yu Xingqian's eyes flashed as he fell into deep thought. As his father, he even hoped that Yu Tianhao could temper himself more and meet more formidable opponents. However, Yu Tianhao's talent and comprehension were too shocking, leaving the geniuses of his generation far behind. In the past year, Yu Tianhao purposely didn't try to break through to the true lord rank or else this sacred true dragon gathering wouldn't mean anything to him. On the peak, Zhao Feng's consciousness was in a mysterious state. It was like he had jumped out of the shackles of his physical body and was high in the clouds, watching the battle between Xian Wuheng and Yu Tianhao. A similar feeling had appeared twice before. The first 2 times an eye of heaven appeared in the sky, it consumed a terrifying amount of mental energy. This time, Zhao Feng controlled himself a little. He only peeped, but did not deliberately exert any pressure. After the battle ended, Xian Wuheng casually glanced at the sky. He appeared somewhat doubtful as he pondered. Yu Tianhao's battle power is indeed unrivaled. Even Xian Wuheng lost. Zhao Feng comprehended the scenes in the dimension of his left eye. Yu Tianhao's undefeatable willpower surpassed normal sword and blade intent. Zhang Yuyue and Tian Yunji couldn't even take one hit in front of him. This power came from the heart and Zhao Feng couldn't copy it. The god's spiritual eye's copying ability wasn't omnipotent and had its limits. Firstly, bloodline and elemental affinity. Some bloodline techniques were built on the bloodline and even if Zhao Feng understood the theory, he wouldn't be able to use them. This was the biggest barrier. Secondly, the level of these techniques was too high and Zhao Feng couldn't use them due to the limitations of his cultivation. For example, if Zhao Feng tried to comprehend the legendary Earth-grade techniques, even those at the origin core realm would find it hard, let alone him. On the other hand, Xian Wuheng's moves didn't have any obvious elemental affinity or bloodline requirements. After all, Xian Wuheng's talent was average and he didn't have a bloodline. However, his moves were extremely profound and didn't have much of a restriction on his cultivation. Star Passage Technique, 10,000 origins return to the origin and that special footwork intent. Every movement and every move draws the essence, aura and soul of heaven and earth. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face as he comprehended Xian Wuheng's moves. In the end, he divided them into 3 different intents. The first, Star Passage Technique. It was an extremely profound technique that borrowed the power of gravity. The second, 10,000 origins returned to the origin. It was even higher, using an invisible technique to absorb the power of the opponent's moves and even turn it into his own. The third, merging the essence, aura and soul into one, becoming one with heaven and earth. The 3 intents were extremely profound and each was more profound than the last. Only the first one could be copied by Zhao Feng immediately, which was the technique of borrowing the power of gravity. The second, 10,000 origins return to the origin, was more profound and involved Xian Wuheng's skills. It is said that he has the ability to become a self-taught genius. He has never taken a master, and can comprehend it himself. Or, from some simple cultivation methods, he can cultivate astonishing moves. Mo Tianyi said after some thought. After all, before the sacred true dragon gathering, Xian Wuheng was already a genius that shook the northern continent, just below Mo Tianyi and Xia Xianshang. Just as the two of them were conversing, shouts came from above the river zone. Chapter Leader Zhao. Chapter Leader, is he here? A male and female voice sounded from above. Zhao Feng raised his head and was slightly surprised as he returned to the air above the river. The two were Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi. The two of them had dejected looks on their faces. There wasn't the slightest hint of dragon providence on them. What's going on? Zhao Feng realized that he had forgotten about Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi from the Iron Blood religion. After asking, Zhao Feng found out that both Jiang Sanfeng and Lin Feng's true dragon tokens had been taken. A few days ago, the two teamed up and as long as they didn't meet the geniuses of the first tier, they could pass. But 2 days ago, their luck was bad and they were chased by Taiyun Shuangzi. Your true dragon tokens were all taken by Taiyun Shuangzi. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. He had seen Taiyun Shuangzi's brutality before. As long as someone didn't obediently hand over their true dragon token, Taiyun Shuangzi would beat them to death. I almost lost my life. My right arm was broken. Jiang Sanfeng's face was full of humiliation. Only now did Zhao Feng realize that the upper half of his robe was empty. If we didn't find a new target, Taiyun Shuangzi might have beaten us to death. Dai Yi said with lingering fear. In this dimension, once a true dragon token was taken, it was hard to get another one back. As time passed, the number of true dragon tokens decreased and the geniuses that obtained them were undoubtedly strong. The two teamed up but still couldn't last more than a few moves. Originally, the two were dispirited and gave up. But recently, he suddenly heard that the dimension had given birth to a 6th overwhelming prodigy, Zhao Feng. The two were overjoyed and came to find Zhao Feng. Don't worry, I'll help you get another true dragon token. Furthermore, there are too many overwhelming prodigies in this dimension. Zhao Feng's expression was cold and his eyes were sharp. His blue hair moved without any wind. Dai Yi and Jiang Sanfeng were stunned. From Zhao Feng's tone, it seemed that he wanted to find trouble with Taiyun Shuangzi. Taiyun Shuangzi was famed for his savagery, cruelty, and cunning amongst the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Moreover, this pair of Siamese brothers could combine their swords and sabers to attack together. They could attack and defend at the same time, and it could be said to be perfect without any flaws. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.